Una salmentari zorosarra nabarmen lasterek eta buru azken 200 metro horietan ere eusten dion erritmoari tarte esakuratua abantaila esakuratua Zorrosa nireko korrikalari entzaketa zetuten duenak zartzen daula Zuzano bero bat atikoak eta badioa iragozen duen personal para lograr anotari el 52-57 más de segundo y medio la anterior plusmarca de 7 Bueno, vamos bertako korrikalarien lana emakumezkoetan, bai gizonezkoetan, 2005 metroko proba hauetan egin duten sekulako esportzua saritua izan da marka personalik onenak jaitsi dituzte biek ala biek. Tenemos pues ya marcas personales de grandes victorias en los 400 locales, los 300, los 1500 y bueno, ahora tenemos un pequeño respiro porque la próxima prueba pues son esos 50-60 metros que tenemos planteados para los más pequeños del hogar, el futuro del atletismo guipuzcoano. Lo vamos a tener aquí a mitad de la recta. Halaxe da, gaurko egitarauarekin jarraituz eta badakizue Ordizia minaren web horrian dagoela gaurko egitarauaren berri guztia, programazioa, egitarau osoa bertan daukazue eta 6:25 hasi dugun mitinga lehendabizi bertako korrikalariekin osatu dugu lare 2005 metroko probekin jarraian orain zazpiak izateko minutu baten faltan irekiera edo ekitaldi ofiziala burutuko dugu hain zuzen ere agintari nagusiekin. Ordizia mitin honetako irekiera ekitaldi ofizialarekin bat hemen daukagu Gorka Iturriaga Eusko Jaurlaritzako kirol zuzendari arduraduna Adur Ezenarro Ordiziako alkatea eta Eneko Agirre Zabal Txikoki Atletiko Klubeko presidentea. Ekitaldi hau lehenik eta behin zinta bozketaren aurretik bertako dantzariek dantza saioa eskainiko dute. Mosqueta horretan, esan bezala, hemen dauzkagu, adur ezen arro Ordiziako alkatea, Gorka Iturriaga Eusko Jaurlaritzako kiroletako zuzendariak, eta eneko Agirre Zabal, txindoki atletismo taldeko presidentea. Beraz, hiruak, bakoitzak bere zatia, eta bizia dure ezen arroi, alkateak, eta biziko. Zinta zati horren Mosqueta, Gorka Iturriagaren txanda, eta azkenik eneko Agirre Zabal, txindoki atletismo taldeko presidentea. Beraz, zinta Mosqueta honekin, ja irekitzat, ofizialki, batik bada ere, irekitzat ematen duen beraz, bederatzi Ordizia mitin hau, eskerrik asko agintariei, eskerrik asko ordezkariei, eta orain bai, jarrai dezagun gaurko egitarauarekin, eta orain gaztetxoen txanda tokatzen da, hain zuzen ere aurren lasterketa txikienak, Benjaminak, Aurelinak, Hortze, adintante horretan baditzana, 50 eta 60 metroko lasterketa izango da, beraien zanbia datozela, hemen dauzkagu, eskualdeko, etorkizuneko, arrobiko korrikalari gazteak, hoiko ametezela, Ordiziako pitineak, egin izan dugu, eta egin dugu ez da de Ordizia, Robert, también damos paso bueno al futuro, a la cantera de atletas y de la comarca, con estos 5 niños que participan en las carreras de 50 y 60 metros. Bueno, y tenemos también al nuevo protagonista del año pasado también, sí, la mascota. A todo aurkezpenen zen, horrekalari izaten, atleta egiteko atleten aurkezpenean plazan eritxik izan zen, eta aurre bainen, aurre! Amezkat ditugu, berrogeita marriko gatiko gazteketa, aurrera, aquí avanzado, berrogeita marriko txikien en la cerqueta, nesken txanda izan da. Primeramente han sido las niñas, las que han participado en esta carrera de 50 metros. Vamos con los niños ahora. Hemos visto la vida además, con un brazo y dorado de la corrida de una niña, superación total. No hay nada que se vaya a hacer chicos. Así que da igual, hay 30 menos, se puede correr incluso más rápido. Más peso todavía. horrengoan, neska dira, 60 metroko lasterketa horretan, lehiatuko direna, parte hartuko dutena. Eta horietako ere txalo gero bat eta zorio bat orain gutiak dira. Y vamos ya con los chicos, con la última carrera. Con los chicos ya un poquito más mayorcitos. Zahartzea dira gutiak orain irurogei metroko lasterketa eta hirukote bat dugu. Beraz hemen ere podiumua erabakita. Arrobiari leku eginez ere hemen Ordizia mitinean aurren lasterketak egin ditugu eta horren guazen aurteko beste berrikuntza nagusietako bat 100 metro kirol egokitua, egokituaren 100 metroen lasterketa izango da orain jarraian bien bitartean umeen sariak prestatzen ari gara podiumean. Hacemos aquí en la pantalla de la pista otra repetición de estas carreras de los chicos, Fíjate, pero esto es, Miguel, estos son atletas ya, es una manera de bracear, de mover las piernas. Aquí el futuro, el futuro aquí en la pierna. Bueno, pues en respecto al estudio, yo no tengo nada que añadir. Sin duda, la puesta en escena de Ordizia, de esta fantástica y bonita pista que podemos ver este plano desde el aire. Bueno, pero Ordizia hartutako sekulako ikuspegia, aldamira estadio honetako irudi benetan izugarria. Egerra benetan eta poza ematen du baita ere zuen erantzunak armaiak beteta ikusteak ere zuen erantzun ronaren seinale benetako eta bien bitartean hortxe ia ikusten ditugu kirol egokituko atletak prestatzen 100 metroko preparando los campos de salida en los 10 metros. Vamos a ver si quedan los chicos en esta prueba adaptada. Los 6 abiertos, vamos a comentar las 6 calles. Y si tenemos un pequeño hueco, vamos a hacer la entrega de premios de categoría de familias. Vamos a entregar a Arete Iztueta, Nicole Ima, eta Laia Garmendiarentzat txartxelo bat mesedez Benjamin Maiako neska 90 metroko lasterketa parte hartu dute. Hortzen ikusten dena Laia Garmendia, bigarren Nicole Ima eta hirugarren Arete Iztueta. Zorionak hiruroi. Bueno, hortxe ikusten ditugu, badakazuela zuen horietan, plurale opariak ere bai hortxe, kirol materiala dominean ere bai, nola, Bederatzigarren Ordizia mitin honetako 20. hori dominak, lepoan, baita kamiseta, eta noski lakturalen esnea. Ordizia mitin honetako babesletako batera. Eta hortxe, eneko agiteza bat, txilokiak bateko presidentzia eta txinizten zorionak txalo bat beraien Zagraian Itoreta arete. Eskerrik asko egin doke. Kutillak gora, Benjamin mailako kutillak 50 metroko lasterketan izan dira lehena Luke García, bigarren Oier Zubillaga eta hirugarren Aitor Zuntzunegi. Txalo bero bat, beraientzat. Eta noski duzera, beraientzat ere. Kamisetak gorriak, aurteko lehen garri eta laktuale esnea. Y otro fuerte aplauso para los tres campeones de 50 metros. Eskerrik asko Botilak. Jarraituko dugu alebinekin, emako dugu, hastia, ez? Guazen 100 metro kirol egokituko lasterketarekin. Vamos, Robert, si te parece, con la carrera de 100 metros octavas. Pues vamos a ello, vamos a ver si acaban de hacer estos preparativos a las órdenes ya de los jueces de salida y vamos a ver si pueden hacer una presentación rápida por la calle número 1 Jorge Tejerina, por la 2 Alejandro José Castellanos, por la calle 3 Clemente Gil, por la 4 Unai Álvarez, por la calle 5 Gonzalo Iniesta y por la calle 6 John Revuelta, a las órdenes ya de los jueces de salida.
Venga.
Fantásticos Jorge, Alejandro José, Clemente, Unai, Gonzalo y John, los 6 participantes, los 6 héroes de estos 100 metros. Cuando vamos a la visita también a la antena de premios de estos 60 metros. Alebin eskak ditugu, ia podiumean lehenengoa Leire Gereño izan da, Bina Ireia García eta hirugarrena Mare Zubia. Txalo bero beraientzat. Hirugarren metroko lasterketan izan dira hiruak lehena eta podiumena hartzen ditugu. Kamiseta eta esnea, lakturale esnea jasotzen. Beste txalo bero bat, beraien. Eta aurretzen ditugu, eskerrik asko, eskerak, geitxi, etxeta. Ia, Putin inere aurretan, jaren luken eta eraitzen hori. Bitxi, eta zientzaren opariak banatuko ditugu. Aurrera, sekin gora jaren, luken eta enaitz, eta hauetik Alebin lasterketan, hiruak parte hartu dute, eta hiruak podiumera. Gora jaren Usiko, Luken Ribes eta enaitz Sarabegi. Txalo bero bat beraientzat. besteak bezala jaso dute kamiseta domina eta naturale esnea. Hori da, indartxo egoteko, beste txalo bero bat eta guntzen ditugu. Ezkerrik asko jare, tribuken eta eta jarraitzen dugu emakumezkoen troko laserketa egotikoarekin. Apiaduraren txanda, velocidad.
Se ve muy bien. Es que se me ha roto. No importa, pero se ve romántico. Pero el nombre se ve muy bien. Se ha quedado muy bien.
Puede ser espacio para todo el mundo en este meeting internacional de Ordizia, en esta novena edición. Hemos visto al futuro del atletismo, los más pequeños, hemos visto también atletas locales, hemos adaptado. Y el plato fuerte, porque esto no va a parar hasta las 10:30 de la noche. Vamos a ir subiendo, digamos, vamos a ir subiendo la temperatura. No la atmosférica, pero sí la del nivel de atletas. Vamos a ver en pantalla, aquí a los ojos, y la malla Vitores, en la calle 6. Así que ya haremos silencio y a las órdenes del juego de salida. Salida válida, fuerte aplauso para esta sexta española y Cari Lucía Rapella Maya. Estas salidas 3 y 6. Y para ajustar, la 14:90 y todo tiempo vicioso, seguimos a través de medio acción, así que nuestra fantástica carrera. Medio, el cuerpo para allá.
Tercera, Sanz.
¿Yo cuánto he hecho? No sé, yo 14,94, yo no sé.
Giro egoteko lasterketaren abiadura notik, ia ofizialki hasiera emango diogu. 100 metroko lasterketari emakumezkoari, baina aurretik minutu bateko isilunea eskatu nahi dizuegu. Hildako epaile, federazioko epaile guztien oroimenez, antes de comenzar la primera prueba ya oficial de velocidad de los 100 metros permitidos, vamos, un minuto de silencio, vamos a pedirnos un minuto de silencio en memoria de los jueces fallecidos que nos han dejado durante todos estos años.
A very good evening and welcome to European Athletics live coverage of the 9th edition of the Ordizia meeting. It's the international meeting. Jose Antonio Peña, a World Athletics Continental Tour bronze level meeting. And this is the first of the elite races that will be getting underway this evening. It is one of 5 sections in the women's 100 metres. And we're moving across the lineup from right to left. And in lane 3 from Colombia is Marley Ospino. She has a best of 11.4 this season. But this lady right alongside her is the favourite for this, Isabel Perez Rodriguez. 11.07, her best, but 11.10 already this year, the quickest lady in the field. But from Chile, Isadora Jimenez will also be in contention. She is 11.19 athlete of her best, 11.58 this year. And right on the outside from Spain, Carla Aguirre Garcia. 11.78 is Garcia's best this year. She's just doing one final run through there at the start. It's a great angle there just above the start. You can really just see the power generated as the athletes come out of that blocks. And the power with which they down the track. So we're going to be on air for about the next 3 hours or so for this World Athletics Continental Tour bronze level meeting, the Jose Antonio Peña Memorial Meeting International. And Ordizia, it's in the north of Spain in the Basque Country. It's about 40 kilometers from San Sebastian. And if you're wondering who Jose Antonio Peña is, he was a legendary coach and indeed athletics official in Ordizia. So some of the athletes I just didn't get a chance there to introduce in lanes 1 and 2 on the inside, representing a club not too far from here. Atletismo San Sebastian, it is Nerea Yuji Zubizarreta. She has a best of 12.44, so we'll be up against it in this field. And in lane 2, in that black strip of the Jaén Pariso interior, that is Carla Martitigui Fares. She has a best of 12.03. And we'll find out soon enough if indeed that wind is aiding these athletes or hindering them. So, full lineup again. 6 women for the first section of the women's 100 meters. Lane 1, Zubizarreta. Lane 2, Fares. Lane 3, Ospino. Lane 4, Perez Rodriguez. Lane 5, Jimenez. And lane 6, Garcia. The athlete to watch in lane 4, Maria Isabel Perez Rodriguez. Away they go, and it is a good start indeed from Rodriguez there in the middle. She is starting to pull clear, but Ospino going very well as well, the Colombian alongside her. But it is Maria Isabel Perez Rodriguez, powers to the line, 11.27, a comfortable victory for her. Ahead of Marle Ospino, it was, who took second. So there it is, confirmation for Maria Isabel Perez Rodriguez, 11.27 on the clock. And a very impressive win from her. The 100-meter final will be coming up at about 9:25 local time, so just a little under 2 hours from now. But Perez, there you can see her leaning. As she gets to the line, I think she thought that one might have been quick, and indeed it was a strong run to start the evening at the Ordizia meeting. And as you see there, 1.0 tailwind behind him, it was Perez Rodriguez takes victory with 11.28 ahead of Ospino, 11.51. There will be 5 heats in the women's 100 meters. And they're being run off with quick fire speed here.
Felicitemos al resto de participantes que están ahí apuntados. María Victoria de la Página Rapesada, Cusura, Abasolo, Maika de Román, Leia, Leia, de la Página Castilla.
So the full lineup for the second heat of the women's 100 meters: in lane 1, Annie Aguirre-Mezcorta Garcia; lane 2, Patricia Chavarin Castillo; lane 3, Georgina Harris; lane 4, Lirani Alonso; lane 5, Lucia Vaquero Canovas; and lane 6, Lily Baggett. The quickest athlete in the field is in lane 4, Lirani Alonso. So we'd expect her to assert her dominance here. She is by some distance the quickest in the field, and she is going very well there through the first 50 meters, but she has company in the form of Georgina Harris at the moment. But now it is Alonso indeed who pulls clear. 11:31 on the clock for the Dominican sprinter, just 19 years old. She's a member of the JLR track club, and she has secured her spot in the final later this evening, the A final. Lirani Alonso. She is a two-time national champion in the Dominican Republic. She helped her nation to bronze medals at the Pan American Games back in 2023 in the 4x100 meters. And she's been in good form this season, competing mostly stateside, is based in the US. Indeed, set the national record at 11.15 just a few weeks ago in Florida. Playing form 11.15 just recently for Lirani Alonso, and we'll be seeing her in action later on. Confirmation of that result, and it is great conditions for good sprinting with a 1.3 win behind him. 11:32 for Alonso ahead of Georgina Harris. 11:41, and it was Lucia Vaquero Canovas. 11:94 back in third. So these races come at us fast, and we're straight on to heat 3 of the women's 100 meters. 6 athletes will go to the line for this one. The quickest of them is Britain's Desiree Henry. 11:06 at her best, 11:22 already this season. And she is, by quite a distance, the quickest athlete in this third of 5 heats of the women's 100 meters. And she will be going in lane 4, just a 6-lane track in Ordizia. There is Henry, of course, helped Britain to 4x100 meter Olympic medals last year in Paris, and indeed back in 2016 they won bronze medals. She was the world youth champion all the way back in 2011, but she's still not 30 yet. She has been around a long time, but just 29 years old, Desiree Henry. She goes in lane 4 here, and if all goes to plan, we'd expect her to come home in front. So, lane 1, Goitzitz Erazzi Rodriguez. Lane 2, Leire Martiarena Olazo. Lane 3, Esther Navarro Cerezo. Lane 4, Desiree Henry. Lane 5, Laura Gomez Garcia. And lane 6, Amelia Grace Vinskel. Away they go. It's a very good start there from Cerezo in the middle, but now Henry starts to assert. It's close between them. It looks like these two pulling away, but now Henry really showing her class there up towards the finish. 11:38 on the clock. We'll wait for the wind, but most of the winds have been in and around that 1 meter per second tailwinds. And all smiles for Desiree Henry. 11:38 confirmed. Sure of it, you never quite know. A lot of times running the prelims, sprinters can end up running faster because they're just so much more relaxed, but Henry just making sure to eke out every 100 there in case that was a big one. But it is an 11:03, and it is a spot in the final later on this evening. It's a very good evening for sprinting in Ordizia. It's about 26 degrees. And as I mentioned, light tailwinds, very light tailwinds there. 0.1 for Henry. 11:38 takes victory ahead of Navarro Cerezo. 11:69 in second, and Laura Gomez Garcia takes third. 11:99. So as that drone coasts down the track, we're moving straight on to section 4 of the women's 100 meters. And you can see there that Eunice Lady Garcia Abreu is comfortably the quickest in this section. And these heats, of course, are seeded according to season's bests. And there is Eunice Lady Garcia, who has been in fantastic form this year. 25 years old. She will be the heavy favorite for this one. She's a 2-time winner at the Pan American Games. And she has really been in brilliant form this year. meters and 4x100 meters champion at the Pan American Games, and indeed picked up a silver as well in the 200 meters. But she will be the big favorite for this. She will go in lane 4. We'll give you the full lineup before they're called to the marks. In lane 1, it's Itzazo Estala Lozano. She's 12.75 athlete this year. In lane 2, Kira Pascual Barredo, 12.24, her best this year. Lane 3, Alba Borrero Gerard, 11.44 is her best. Lane 4, Eunice Lady Garcia, 11.23 her best this year, but she is an 11.08 athlete on personal bests. Lane 5, Aitana Rodrigo Rodriguez, 11.68 is her best this year. She's an 11.49 athlete at her best. And right on the outside, Macarena Borrier, 11.91 is her quickest this year. So the lanes to watch, very much lane 4, Eunice Lady Garcia of Cuba. And look at that, she puts about 2 meters into the field within the first 20, and she is only pulling away thereafter. Gerard and Rodriguez are chasing her home, but it is Garcia by a distance, 11.29 on the clock for the Cuban. It's not very far outside her season's best. And a spot in the final secured. Only 6 women will get into it. And Garcia is certainly going to be one of those. An impressive win there by the 25-year-old Cuban. And she, like Henry in the last race, is all smiles as she walks away. And it's teed up for a very high quality final later on. So there was 0 wind coming through there on the results system. So it is calming down as it tends to do in the evening time. It is a city close to the coast, Ordizia. So it can be breezy at times, but as that sun starts to get a little lower in the sky, things are calming down, which I'm sure the distance runners will be quite pleased about in the races to come. Confirmation there in perfectly still conditions. Eunice Lady Garcia takes victory in 11.29 ahead of Aitana Rodrigo Rodriguez, 11.65 in second, and Alba Borrero Gerard in third, 11.76. Onwards and upwards to heat 5 of the women's 100 meters. And the big name to watch here will again be going in lane 4. It is, of course, none other than that lady, well known to all fans of European and indeed global sprinting, Alexandra Burkhardt. She's been on the scene a long time now, but she's still running brilliantly. The 31-year-old German. She's carried them famously to victory, her nation to victory on home turf in Munich to win the European title 3 years ago almost now. And indeed helped Germany to Olympic bronze medals in the 4x100 meters last year. Burkhardt will be expected to pull through this in front and book her place in the final. But the full lineup, 6 women going to the line. Lane 1, Lucia Mariscal Salivera, 12.89 her best. Lane 2, Iria Alcorta Cucuchea, 12:45, her best this year. Lane 3, Carmen Marco Mora, 11:53, her personal best, which was set this year. Lane 4, the favourite for this, Alexandra Burghardt, 11:01 is her personal best, but she's already run 11:26 this year, so getting close to that. Lane 5 is Belen Fritzsche, and lane 6, Brianna Andrews. So we're obviously missing Mora there in lane 3, and with that it is of course Burghardt pulling clear by some distance there, just looking a very different class to the rest of the field. 11:42 on the clock. That's a very strong run to start the evening by the German. And you could see there, given the absence of Carmen Marco Mora in lane 3, the Valencia athlete, who is an 11:53 athlete, it was always going to be very easy really for Burghardt, and so it proved for the German, who has won an absolute slew of medals over the years for her nation in the 4x100 meters at various championships. She carried Germany to the European under-20 title, or helped them to it, back in 2011. And she was European under-23 silver medalist all of 10 years ago now, Burghardt. And a very good hurdler as well. Back in 2011 she was a world under-18 fourth placer in the final at that championships. She's won 4 national titles in total, and in just over an hour and a half, Burghardt will be back on track for the final of the women's 100 meters against some very high caliber opponents. They're all been kept apart like prize fighters in these heats, but they will be clashing a little later on. And with that, it's onwards to the men's 100 meters, and there are also 5 athletes in this. Sorry, 5 heats in this. 6 athletes in the first heat. And that man in your shot will be the overwhelming favourite for this, Ronaldo Espinosa, 22-year-old Cuban. He's been running brilliantly so far this year. He helped Cuba to silver medals at the Pan American Games back in 2023 in the 4x100 meters, but Espinosa has been running very well, as I mentioned. He was competing in various places, from Cuba to Russia in May and June, and then in Troyes in France last month. Only about, 2 weeks ago now in Troyes. Espinosa had a brilliant performance to win there in 9:95. Unfortunately, the wind was just over the allowable limit. It was 2.3 meters per second, but Espinosa very much proving, as he settles in for a bit of a European tour in the middle of the summer, that he is arriving in absolutely flying form. Since taking wins in Spain, after that victory in France, in Malaga and Pamplona, he ran 10:03 in Malaga, and then in Pamplona he ran 34. And I'm sure he will be eyeing the 10-second barrier again this evening with very good conditions for sprinting. But they're about to be there now, being called to their mark. So the full lineup for the first section of the men's 100 meters first heat. Lane 1, Alberto Urquia Lopez. Lane 2, Xavier Capetillo Landajo. Lane 3, Sergio Lopez Barranco. Lane 4, Ronaldo Espinosa, the favourite. Lane 5, Naker Jesus Abelo Sanchez. And lane 6, Markel Lorea Olesialo. You'd expect Sanchez in lane 5 to be the man to best put it up to Espinosa. 10:14 Sanchez has run already this year, and you see it is these two pulling away now past the halfway point. It's close between them, but it is Espinosa who just about has the edge there as they hit the line. That last 20 meters or so, Espinosa just asserted 10:28 on the clock unofficially. And Espinosa is very much into the final later on. Indeed, that is now made official. 10:28 for Espinosa. He comes home ahead of Sanchez, who clocks 10:30 in second, and it was Barranco back in third there in lane 3, 10:51 for him. The wind 1.2 meters per second tailwind, so pretty much ideal sprinting conditions, and that is a serious piece of bling there that Espinosa has bouncing around his chest as he sprints. So Ronaldo Espinosa is into the men's 100-meter final. Great to see a very good crowd enjoying some top quality athletics in Ordizia. The International meeting Jose Antonio Peña, honouring the name of a local legend who served his time so well in both coaching and officiating back since the 1980s. Jose Antonio Peña's name immortalised with this meeting, which is now in its 9th year. So no surprise to see lane 4 yet again occupied by the man pretty much everyone would consider the big favourite for this. Recently ran a windy, albeit very windy, 9.95 second 100 metres. It is Adi Adewale of Great Britain in that red and yellow strip there. Enfield and Haringey athlete. He's 31 years old, is Adewale. At his best, the 10:05 he ran last year in London. As I mentioned, a windy 9:95 recently in his last race, also in London. He had a good indoor season as well, clocked a 60-metre PB of 6:63. Really is impressive running, so aging like a fine wine at 31 years old, Adi Adewale. 100-metre PB last year, 60-metre PB this year. And he will be the big favourite for this to advance to the men's 100-metre final. If there is a man to put it up to him though, it's the guy alongside him in lane 5, Arturo Armudio Delicer of Panama, 10.17 he has run this year. But the full lineup, go through it quickly. Lane 1, Ander Iriarte Eslava. Lane 2, Alejandro Garcia Soria. Lane 3, Tristan Cardenas Hotel. Lane 4, the favourite, Adi Adewale. Lane 5, the big danger to him, Arturo Armudio Delicer. And lane 6, Oihan Zulueta Manero. Lanes to watch, lanes 4 and 5, and it is these two who look to be going head to head here past the halfway point. And it is indeed, is it Delicer getting the upper hand? No, it's not. Oh, it's very close between them. Adewale came back in that last 20 metres, but Armudio Delicer looked to perhaps have the edge at about 80 metres. We'll await official confirmation. The cameraman is certainly following Delicer of Panama, who is a 10:14 athlete at his best. Does he know something I don't? Yes, he does. It was Arturo Armudio Delicer takes victory in 10:39. We'll just get a replay of that. It was very, very close between the two of them. See there at that point, Delicer just had the edge, and then when the camera angle switched, it just looked like Adewale may have come back at him. Very, very close between the two of them. We'll await the full result to come through officially. Hasn't quite done so yet. And there we have it, 300ths of a second between them in the end, with a 1.1 metre per second wind behind them, and it was Arturo Armudio Delicer who takes victory in a very close race. And a few nervous moments ahead for for Adewale as he waits to see if he can secure a spot in the six-man final. That race will be coming up at 9:30 local time. That's Central European time, of course, so an hour and 40 minutes from now. The women's 100 meter final will be about 5 minutes before that. For now, we'll focus on the next heat of the men's 100 meters. It will be heat 3. And the big favourite in this one will be the man we were looking at there. He has that prize lane that all the quickest athletes are getting. Yannick Wolf. Wolf is a 10.05 athlete at his best, and he has been in brilliant form this year. That 10.05 was run this year. He was third at his own National Indoor Championships earlier in the year, but he also competed at the European Indoors in Apeldoorn. 25-year-old who runs for Cologne Athletics. We'll blast through the lineup very quick because these races are being run very quick indeed. Lane 1, Hugo Perez de Colesia Dominguez. Lane 2, Ignacio Domingo Martin. Lane 3, Samuel Chukwuemeka Rodriguez Igbinowania. Lane 4, Yannick Wolf of Germany. Lane 5, Elliot Jones. And lane 6, Jorge Ilaramendi Esteban. The man to watch is in lane 4, Yannick Wolf. But look out too for Elliot Jones alongside him. He is a 10.2 athlete this year. Away they go, and it is a bullet start there from Wolf and Jones. These two pulling clear of the field. Wolf has some work to do, but I think he's going to just about pull through now. It's very close on the line. It was Elliot Jones and Yannick Wolf. Tough to call that one from that angle. Elliot Jones really putting it up strongly there to Yannick Wolf, the Briton, 27 years old, and once again the cameraman is following him, so we suspect he has indeed got the job done. 10:21 it is. So that's just outside his official personal best of 10:20 on a windy 993 as well, just in recent weeks, so the signs were there. It was very windy indeed in Stratford that day, 3.7 behind him. But Yannick Wolf will have known from that he would have had a race just to get into this final. And as we see, it was Elliot Jones pulling through in what was a very, very close race. Tipping at the line there. I'm pretty sure, given the time he ran, Yannick Wolf will secure a spot in the final. 10:22, nothing to separate them on the hundreds. That went down to the thousands, and it was the Brit Elliot Jones pulling through in 10:22. The tiniest of fractions ahead of Germany's Yannick Wolf. Onwards to heat 4 of the men's 100 meters. And the big man to watch here, well, by now anyone watching will know where to look for the fastest man in these heats, on paper at least. Obviously we've seen many times it doesn't play out that way, as Elliot Jones proved there. But the man to watch has the cameraman in his lane at the moment, Jose Gonzalez of Dominican Republic. He is a 10.04 athlete at his best, 10.09 already this year. And if he reproduces anything close to that, he should be in a world of his own here. So there he is. He will be going in lane 4. Gonzalez, the Pan American Games champion in 2023. But the full lineup from right to left. Lane 1 is Mikel Navarro Echegu. Lane 2, Axel Oliveira. Lane 3, Ismael Gomez Luque. Lane 4, the favourite, Jose Gonzalez. Lane 5, Ander Garriar Picabea. And lane 6, Andoni Manterola Perez. Once again, the man to watch, lane 4, Jose Gonzalez. But look out too for Ander Garriar Picabea, who is a 10:29 athlete. Shouldn't be too far away at all, but we would expect Gonzalez to pull clear, and indeed it is again. Lanes 4 and 5. Luque is missing in lane 3. It's close once again though between lanes 4 and 5, and having to go all out there towards the finish as they cross the line in 10:36 was Jose Gonzalez. Ander Garriar Picabea really did put it up to him there. But it was indeed Jose Gonzalez, the favourite, who pulled through in the end, the 30-year-old Dominican sprinter. He takes victory in the 4th of 5 heats in the men's 100 metres. So, spot secured for Gonzalez in the final. He'll be back on track in 90 minutes' time for that final. You can just see here, there in the technique, he was feeling the pressure, was Gonzalez. From around him, he really did have to stress himself to get to that line in front, which he just about did ahead of Garriar. And Jose Gonzalez safely into the final. Peace. No stress, no worries. He was a little bit stressed at 80 metres, I'm sure. Job is nation there with a 0.5 metres per second tailwind. Oh no, it looks like they've reversed it, have they? Or is that a dead heat? Do we have... It looks like a dead heat between Ismael Gomez Luque. No, I think that's not right. Ismael Gomez Luque was a non-starter, so a few gremlins in the system there, unless our eyes were deceiving us, because it was very much Gonzalez leading home Garriar Picabea. But either way, no doubts about the winner, it was Jose Gonzalez. So, onwards to heat 5 of the men's 100 metres. And once again, the man to watch is in lane 4, Kevin Kranz of Germany. 10.13 his best. Kranz is a 4-time national champion, and that 10.13 personal best was run just a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, on home turf in Germany, in Regensburg. And Kranz helped Germany to bronze medals in the 4x100 metres at the European Championships in Rome last year. And he should have enough to pull through here. But if there's a man to put up to him, it's that man on the left of the shot, Christopher Valdez of Dominican Republic. Valdez is a 10.18 man at his quickest. However, he's not quite reached that level yet this year. 10.33 his best so far in 2025. And if Kranz brings the same kind of form he brought to Regensburg just 3 weeks ago, he should be a comfortable winner here. But if he's any way off it, Christopher Valdez alongside will be certainly ready to capitalise and earn that automatic spot in the final. But the full lineup for this heat of the men's 100 metres. Lane 1, Ansel Berezartua Aranzabal. Lane 2, Yere Veronice Martinez. Lane 3, Joseba Laurauri Alar Corsoro. Lane 4, the favourite from Germany, Kevin Kranz. Lane 5, the danger man, Christopher Valdez. And lane 6, Ricardo Sanchez Perez. And it's a false start, which is no harm, because I was rushing through that lineup as they were in the set position. And we'll have another few moments to tee up this race, which does look like a head-to-head between the men in lanes 4 and 5, Kranz and Valdez. If there is a man who can threaten them, it is that man in the striped kit of Real Sociedad in lane 3. You see there, I'm not exactly sure why that was a false start. Maybe someone is about to get the red card, or maybe it was just a faulty start. Either way, they were recalled and they will go again. But as I mentioned, in lane 3 there is a man who has been in very good form as well this year, a 10.5 sprinter, Joseba Larrauri Alargonzoro of Real Sociedad. His clubmate alongside him in lane 2, Martinez. He's a 10.8 man. Sprinter on the inside is just dipped below 11 seconds, 10.99. Some deliberations ongoing by the officials, deciding who to kick out of the race, if anyone. No false starts allowed, of course, these days. So it is a green card, thankfully, shown to all the field. Perhaps just a bit of noise in the arena. We won't know the reason, but either way, thankfully, all 6 men will be going to the line. For this, the 5th and final heat of the men's 100 meters. Lane 1, Aranzabal. Lane 2, Martinez. Lane 3, Alargonzoro. Lane 4, Kranz. Lane 5, Valdez. And lane 6, Perez. The big favourite. In lane 4, Kevin Kranz of Germany. Away they go. It's an even start, and no surprise to see Kranz starting to pull away. He is clear of this field already. Valdez simply cannot go with him. He's in second, but no doubt about the winner. It is Kevin Kranz who asserts his dominance. 10:22 on the clock for Kranz. So it's not quite the fireworks of a 10.13 a few weeks ago, but 10:22, he will be very pleased about that. It is only a preliminary round, so he will be back on track later on. And I'm sure will be trying to dip again into the 10.1s later. So confirmation coming through. Kevin Kranz 10:23 for victory. Christopher Valdez took second with 10:39, and Ricardo Sanchez Perez back in third with 10:44. So we have 5 heat winners. So I'm just gonna go through them to see who was the quickest runner-up. As we see some kids' races ongoing on the track. I think this might be a 500 or 600 meter race, maybe. Look out for the future stars coming from the Basque Country in the north of Spain. So, just looking back through the results of the men's 100 meters, I think Yannick Wolf of Germany will be the quickest non-winner. He did finish second, it says, in 10:22. kids races there, just going at it, hammer and tongs. Great to see. Making them part of the program. Sharing the stage with many of the senior champions, and there are some really, really accomplished Spanish athletes, especially in Ordizia this evening. The likes of Maria Vicente, Fatima Diame, Asia Martinez, the hurdler. Athletes who have won medals on the global stage will be doing their thing in front of the home crowd. And a good supportive home crowd indeed it is, as we see our champion. He is down and out for the count, but up he gets. Victory is his. Congratulations to him. Next up on track, at least amongst the elite races, it will be the women's 400 meters, and we'll have 3 heats, 3 sections I should say, because they're not heats, they're finals of the women's 400 meters. As we see, there are the 6 qualifiers for the men's 100 meter final. Elliot Jones, Yannick Wolf, Kevin Krantz, Ronaldo Espinosa, Naker Jesus Abelo Sanchez, and Jose Gonzalez, and the times indeed that they qualified in. And we'll be seeing them back on track at 9:30 Central European time this evening. So about 80 minutes or so time, they'll be back. But next up on track, it's going to be the 400s. And there we have the C final of the women's 400 meters. 5 athletes going to the line for this one. We will go the opposite to what we did in 100 meters, as is the traditional way in the one-lap events. Starting on the outside, moving to the inside, and right on the outside, it is Alexandra Vushak-Zoblak. She is a 54.10 second athlete at her best. And appropriate, they're playing Vangelis, the theme song to Chariots of Fire, that famous movie about the 1924 Olympics. Which, of course, one of the leading stars, Eric Liddell, took victory in the 400 meters. Well chosen song. So it looks like we're not getting the full lineup, so I'll go through them quickly. That is Aliane Aguiralde Zubaure. She's a 54.99 athlete. She's going on the inside in lane 2. Lane 3 will be Barbara Camblor Garcia. She's a 52.88 athlete. In lane 4 from Morocco, it will be Salma Lelali. She is a 52.98 athlete at her best, 53.04 this year. Lane 4 is Teresa Santolaria Moreno. And on the outside, as I mentioned, in lane 6, Alexandra Vushak Zdobliak. And indeed, we are missing some athletes here, so no sign of Lelali and indeed Moreno in lanes 4 and 5. So it looks like Garcia in lane 3 and Zubiaure there in your shot as well, but Garcia was the quickest in the race, even on the original lineup, with that 52.88 personal best. And with some of her competitors not showing up for this, no surprises to see Barbara Camblor Garcia turning for home with a commanding advantage. She's run a very strong first 300 there, goes through 300 meters in well under 39 seconds it looked like. Can she carry that home and get around that sub 53 mark again? She's already been below 53 this year. It's going to be close, but it's not quite there for her. But it is a victory in the C final, 53.46 unofficially for Barbara Camblor Garcia of Atletismo Pielagos. And she takes a well-deserved seat and a well-deserved rest. 400 meters is a very, very painful event. But Garcia made that look relatively easy, especially through the first 350. But then, as always, one throws a fridge on your back to carry home. No issues there for Barbara Camblor Garcia of Atletismo Pielagos. It was Vrushak Stopiak taking second in 55.15, and it was Zubiare in third with 55.26. Confirmation of that, and pity we didn't have Lela, because she certainly would have made a good race of it there with Garcia based on the personal bests. But onwards to the B final of the women's 400 meters, and 6 more athletes going to the line here on the inside from Dominican Republic. It is Estrella de Asa. Lane 2 from Britain will be Hannah Kelly. Lane 3, the lady in your shot from Germany, is Luna Buhlmann, quickest in the field this year with 51.72, and hence she has the camera's focus here in the moments ahead of this race. In lane 4 from Italy, it will be Alessandra Banora, who is also a sub 52 second athlete this year. Lane 5 from Spain, the Playa de Castellón club, Carmen Aviles Palos, 52.00 she has run this year. And in the outside, in lane 6, from the Nerja club, it is Herminia Para Morales, 52.58 her best, which was run this year. So there is Luna Buhlmann, the 25-year-old German. That's Hannah Kelly of Great Britain, the 24-year-old. 51.96 her personal best was run this year. So this should be quite a close race, you would imagine. All athletes who've run either 51 high or 52 low to mid seconds, but the quickest on season's best and indeed personal bests goes in lane 3, Luna Buhlmann of Germany in the red Adidas kit. Away they go, and as I mentioned, these athletes are quite evenly matched, so I wouldn't expect to see too many people eating up that stagger. If anything, it looks like Carmen Aviles Palos has gone out quite hard there in the outside in lane 5, but now it does look like Buhlmann is starting to rip through the field a little bit, but also going well is Alessandra Benora there in the centre. As they round the final turn, it is very, very close between them here, and Buhlmann has a bit of work to do. She is trailing a few metres behind Palos and Benora, and she is back in 4th at the moment. And indeed it is the athlete in lane 4, Alessandra Benora, but going well, Hannah Kelly there, Britain on the inside. It's very close between Kelly, Benora and Palos as they go to the line. And it looks like it is the Spaniard, Carmen Aviles Palos, who out in lane 5 just had more in the tank in that crucial last 50 metres. And in the green colours of the famous Playa de Castellón club, she takes victory in 52.27, just outside her personal best of 52.00. And good to see her lending a helping hand to her competitors, get them all off the ground. As we see Carmen Aviles Palos, she was eyeballs out really there in that last 30 metres, and I think given the calibre of opponents she's beaten, I think the expression there on her face was one of an athlete who thought she might have cracked 52 seconds for the first time in her life, and there was just a little bit of frustration despite taking the win. over a number of 51-second women. She couldn't quite join that club today, but no doubt it will be in the near future for Carmen Aviles Palos, who takes victory in 52.26 ahead of Alessandra Bonora of Italy, 52.34 in second. And indeed it was Hannah Kelly of Great Britain and Northern Ireland taking third in 52.56, with Luna Bullman of Germany only fourth, 53.41 for her. Next up, it's time for the men's C 400 meter final. 6 athletes due to go to the line here, and the quickest of them is in lane 6. But that man, Juan Jose de la Rosa Rodriguez, is the second quickest of them, just the second man in the field who to go below 47 seconds. Competing for the Tenerife club in the Canary Islands. 46.93 is the personal best for Juan Jose Rosa. The favourite will be going in lane 6 outside Serrano Ruiz of Real Sociedad. We've got to know that vest already this evening, the blue and white strip. He has a personal best of 46.77. I suspect him to feature very strongly. So the full lineup for the C final of the men's 400 meters. In lane 1, Iñaki Lopez Pascual has a best this year of 49.47. In lane 2, Carlos Igartua Aizapiri has a best of 49.26 this year. In lane 3, Inigo Perez Ureta Vecaya, 48.66 is his best. In lane 4, one of the favourites, Juan Jose de la Rosa Rodriguez, 46.93 his best. In lane 5, from Venezuela, Kaylin Yoel Zambrano, 47.40 his best this year. And as we mentioned, the overall favourite from the outside in the blue and white strip of Real Sociedad, Ibai Serrano Ruiz. Pretty even between those men in the outside 4 lanes at the moment, just pulling away from Azipiri and Pascual in lanes 1 and 2. Not much to choose between them at the moment, but it looks like Ruiz has gone out quite hard there on the outside, and De La Rosa Rodriguez is making the best of the chase at the moment. He's up to second. There's not much to choose between Rodriguez and Ruiz at the moment as they turn for home, and Ureta Vecaya also going well there in lane 3. And no surprise to see Serrano Ruiz holding on here, but he's having to dig in very strongly down this last 50 because there's a big charge from De La Rosa Rodriguez. But indeed it is the favourite who prevails. Ibai Serrano Ruiz takes victory in 46.77 for the Spaniard. Sorry, 47.01. It was quite even really through the first probably 150 metres. But you could just see as they entered that final turn, Ruiz was starting to assert. He had put in a strong middle section of that race, and he was also strong up the home straight. Mechanics starting to go a little bit there in the final meters, but you'd expect that. 47.01 for Ibai Serrano Ruiz takes victory ahead of Juan Jose de la Rosa Rodriguez. 47.11 in second. And then it was the Venezuelan Kaylin Yoel Zambrano takes third in 48.03. Next up on track, it's going to be the B final of the men's 400 metres. Six men due to go to the line, and there they are. In lane 1, Manuel Bea Medina, who has clocked his personal best this season, 45.62. In lane 2 from Venezuela is Axel Gomez, who has a best of 46.19. There, out in lane 5, we're skipping out to him, is the Moroccan, the 22-year-old. He will feature strongly here. Quickest man in the field, 45.54 this season, Hamza Dair. In lane 3, Samuel Garcia Cabrera has run 46.12 this year. Lane 4, Robert King of the Dominican Republic, 46.00 this season. I mentioned Hamza Dair in lane 5, 45.54, the quickest in the race this year. And on the outside from Real Sociedad Club, Adrian Rochendio Perel, 46.46, his best this season. So the quickest men in this field, at least on season's bests, are, on the inside is one of them, Manuel Bea Medina, 45.62. But the quickest man of all this season is Hamza Dair of Morocco, 45.54. He goes in lane 5. But again, they're all men who have run in the mid to high 45s or low 46 second range this year. I would expect all 6 men, if they're healthy and running well, to turn for home with no more than a couple of meters between them, and then we'll see who has the strength, who has the composure, who has the focus to carry it home down the home straight. As we see the Venezuelan Axel Gomez, he goes in lane 2, 46.19. He was just 19 years old, and he is a real up-and-comer, is Gomez. He won a bronze medal at the South American Championships this year. Cabrera in lane 3 is a very experienced athlete, 33 years old now, Cabrera. But a best of 45.00. Dates back a few years, but he was part of the Spanish team that represented their nation at the London 2017 World Championships, and Garcia Cabrera also helped Spain to bronze at the European Championships back in 2022 in Munich. But a man who will certainly take some beating is Hamza Dair out in lane 5, the Moroccan, 22-year-old. He's really on the up. He was a silver medalist at the Francophone Games back in 2023. So the full lineup: lane 1, Medina; lane 2, Gomez; lane 3, Garcia Cabrera; lane 4, King; lane 5, Dair; and lane 6, Rochendio Peral. And it looks like Robert King of Dominican Republic has run a very strong first 150 there. He was just eating into the stagger of Hamza Dair alongside him. Will he ease off the throttle just a little? And also coming through there is Samuel Garcia Cabrera in lane 3. Looks to be Garcia Cabrera, King and Dair at the moment, but flying up as well in lane 1 is the man we mentioned a while ago, Manuel Bea Medina, who would factor strongly, and he certainly is doing that from the tricky inside lane. But at the moment it is Robert King, the Dominican athlete, who is holding on. But look on the outside, here comes Hamza Dair of Morocco. The favourite takes victory, 45.94 on the clock. They just dip under the 46 second barrier. Quite elation on the face of Dair, more exhaustion. But he comes up out of that crouch and he gives the peace sign, thumbs up, blows a kiss. Hamza Dair of Morocco, the 22-year-old, is the winner of the B final of the men's 400 meters. And you can see there he really did all that work in the last 60 meters. Obviously everyone is slowing down in the 400 meters at that point in a race. It's all about who can slow down the least, and Hamza Dair was certainly slowing down the least there. He was holding things together brilliantly, all that speed endurance work, all that stuff that sprinters love to hate. That's where it all pays off. And 45.94 for Hamza Dair takes victory ahead of Robert King, 46.27. Rounding out the top 3 from the inside lane, Manuel Bea Medina, 46.39 for him. So next up, it's time for some 800 meter action, and it will be a very crowded field here. For the first of these men's 800 meter races, this will be the C final. And there's a big field here. Many people will be sharing lanes here, so when they break from lanes after a little over 100 meters, expect it to get quite crowded. That is Ander Anglada Aispura. He's a 151.92 athlete this year. In this C final, there's only one athlete who has gone below 150 this season. He'll be in lane 5, Francisco Luis Martin Doboa. We will also have some field event action upcoming. Well, hopefully the local director will be able to bring us some of that. We'll have a men's shot put getting underway in about 20 minutes time, and a really good women's long jump as well coming up with two well-renowned Spaniards, Fatima Leame and Maria Vicente. But first, it's the C final of the men's 800 meters, and I better get started on this lineup because it's a big one. We'll start from the outside in. In lane 8, it will be, I believe, the pacemaker, Kimetz Zabala Anchin. Sorry, not in lane 8, in lane 6. But as we go from outside to inside, then it will be Jose Fabian Conejo Molina. Then Alejandro Jose Matienzo Rodriguez, Massine El Kadawi Azi, Ander Anglada Aispurua, Marco Leonardo Gutierrez, Francisco Luis Martin Doboao, Javier Alemanac Navarro, Gonzalo Soler Valenzuela, Enrique Carrion Martinez, and then on the inside, Freddy Javier Rojas. So the pacemaker just carrying them through there. And we'll be looking for something, I would imagine, around the 52 to 53 second range for these men who are mostly 150 kind of performers this year. And it looks like Marco Leonardo Gutierrez in that red vest is taking up pole position behind the pacemaker at the moment as they approach the bell, but these two athletes just starting to pull clear as they pass through in real perfect pacemaking there to set up a sub 150 attempt, and it is Marco Leonardo Gutierrez of Atletismo Numantimo who is leading the way at the moment and leading this field really a merry dance. He hits the back straight now. He is a 146 man at his best, but he hasn't been in that kind of form yet this year. But at the moment, Marco Leonardo Gutierrez is strong out front. He just has one athlete for company, and that might be El Kadawi Azi. Now the field is starting to bunch up behind, and let's see if anyone can get past the long-time leader, Marco Leonardo Gutierrez. He will have a wall of men appearing on his right side very soon. Let's see who's going to get victory. As I mentioned, there was a big field bunched together. And will they go under 150? It's going to be very close. It's going to be just outside there, 150, 150.64. And our winner is that man, Ander Anglada Aispurua, who's just set a big season's best there and timed that really to perfection. 150.64 on the clock for Aispurua, and that is not just season's best, it's also a personal best. 151.77 was his previous best, so he knocks a second off that and takes a very nice victory in the C final of the men's 800 meters. You can see there Marco Leonardo Gutierrez tried his best to pretty much lead the field the whole way, with the pacemaker accepted, but in the end he just didn't quite have the strength to get home and faded right out of it there. You can see him in the background. He was a broken man that last 50 as the cavalry came charging from behind. So that was the C final of the men's 800 meters at the International meeting. Jose Antonio Peña in Ordizia, Spain. Next up on track will be the B final of the men's 800 meters. But first, it's going to be some pole vault action. And it looks like we have 4 athletes entered, but it looks like just 3 athletes on the track for the women's pole vault. So 4 athletes were entered, 3 of them have shown up. I know one of them is definitely Virginia Scardanzan. She's on the right there, the Italian, who has a best of 4:45. And we'll just work out who is who, because the start list don't match exactly who is on the track. But 4 athletes we were supposed to have were Virginia Scardanzan, Ayora Peña, Aslin Qualia Masso, and Ana Carrasco Garcia. That would be getting going in about 7 minutes time. But back on track for the time being, because next up it's going to be the B final of the women's 800 meters. And it is another crowded field for this. A number of athletes in this. Just looking down the start list. Personal bests. The one you probably expect to feature very strongly is Sana Hamami. Looks to stand alone in terms of personal bests and season's best. The French athlete, 30 years old, runs for the Montreuil club. She is a 2:02 athlete. And there's no one else in this race who has broken 2:04. And Hamami did run that time this year as well. 7th of June that was in Martigues. She's been doing a bit of pacemaking as well at some events indoors. You would expect that Sana Hamami could take victory again here if she produces something like that, because as I mentioned, there's only 2 other athletes who've broken 2:05 and no other athlete 2:04 in the field. And the 2 biggest dangers you'd expect: Julia Maroto Herranz of FC Barcelona and Alicia Recio Samaniego of the University Leon. Both of those athletes have run 2:04, and from there on up it's 2:05, 2:06, 2:07 athletes. So I'd expect that Hamami, Herranz and Samaniego may well have it amongst themselves up the front. And they're just prepping to get underway in that women's pole vault. Yeah, it was Carrasco Garcia who has not shown up for that pole vault, so that leaves us with just 3. It'll be a quick competition, depending on how high these athletes go or how ambitious they want to be at their entry height. I imagine it's in the high 3-meter range, close to 4 meters, that some of these athletes will be entering at.
Igerilekoen aldean gabiltzaia pixu jaurditzaileak. Eta hain zuzen ere, gizonezkoetan finalean arituko direnez gain ere, bertako txindoki atletismo taldeko Zuatz Sukia ere izango da.
We're underway in the women's 800 meters. From the inside, Sana Hamami, Julia Maroto Herranz, Alessio Recchio Samaniego, Havana Kofi Aliston Greaves, Sandra Labarta Oliva, Angela Garcia Sancho, Paulette Natasha Fernandez Ngo, Maria Rojas, Irati Zorotza Renom, Alasne Garrido Zapiren, Marta Fernandez Arazabilaga, and finally Nayara Garcia Moreno as they pass through. 250 meters here. We'll get an idea as they hit 300 just how quick they're running. As I mentioned, the athletes we'd expect to feature most prominently are Sana Hamami of France, Julia Maroto Garanz, and Alicia Rezio Semaniego, the two Spaniards. The pacemaker doing a good job getting this going at a decent. Hamam's in there in second as they pass through in 60.97, so it's well set up. Perhaps a little on the pedestrian side for an athlete of the caliber of Hamami if she wants to be challenging that 2:02.84 mark she ran. Very few athletes can run even splits in 800 meters and at least run their best. But Hamami, no, in fact it is Samaniego who is pushing things along there out front at the moment. And now it is Maria Rojas who moves up from the outside. So it is Rojas ahead of Samaniego as they round the last bend. Maria Rojas has taken command of this race, but can she hold on to it? Because there's a long way left from here, the last 150. And we'll see who has the strength up the home straight to get the job done. 4 or 5 athletes turn for home together. It looks like Greaves and Oliva down there as well. It is Greaves, Oliva and Rojas. So close as they head to the line. 2:04 on the clock it was. A brilliant exhibition of 2-lap running there. And with 2:04 on the clock, it was Sandra Labarta who came flying down the outside. 2:04.46. That's a big personal best for her. Sandra Labarta Oliva takes victory impressively and knocks about over a second off her personal best. And we see there Maria Rojas, the Venezuelan. 2:07 was her best. She will also have run a personal best back in second. Labarta exhausted from that effort. It's a brilliant drone shot there as we see the athletes clustered together. Labarta just ahead of Rojas. Rojas really did go for it on the back straight. And from a personal best of 2:07, she's certainly taken a good chunk off that. We'll await the official results. But exultation amid the exhaustion for Labarta. So next up it's going to be the B final of the men's 800 meters. And it is another very crowded field here for this race. We had mostly men who were just above 150 in general, and their season's best and personal best in the last race. The final of the men's 800 meters will feature mostly athletes who are a little bit under 149. Most of these men, a lot of them are 148 men, 149 men this year. I'm sure we'll be seeing something around the 52-second range, perhaps just under at the bell, and then we'll see who among them can perhaps go after that 147 range. None of them have run 147 this year, but all of them are quite close to it. And it is a multinational field. Alejandro Ortiz Tercero will be going on the inside, and Pablo Sanz Velasco, Alejandro Perano of Chile, Adrian Tual of France, Eduardo Romero Perez, Elian Numa Lopez Iglesias, Elias Lakovic, Brian Barcala Apresida, Christopher Yarpa of Chile, Saúl Martínez Moreno, and Fernando Vicente Navasso. So once again, the pacemaker just towing this field along, getting them well strung out. Number 27 there is Saúl Martínez Moreno, taking closer order in that light sky blue strip and the sunglasses. He's just back in 5th at the moment. But it is being towed along at a healthy tempo, and that's really what you want to see at this level. No one really stepping on each other's toes, getting in each other's ways. And it is in that red strip there, that's one of the Chileans. That is Alejandro Perano at the moment. Alejandro Perano has pole position behind the pacemaker, and he's just running on the outside of lane 1 there. He's leaving a big gap inside him, and you should always shut the door in that scenario. He hasn't done it. Well, he's now drifting back through the field. So right now it is Elian Newman Lopez Iglesias now who has taken command at the front. Number 21, 148 is his best as he hits 600 meters in about 120. So this is very much on a 147 if they can hold that together, averaging 27s so far. But of course this is the toughest one of all. Let's see if Lopez Iglesias can carry this home the last 100. He has company in the form of Romero, number 19 there just on the outside, coming up to attack him at the moment. Lopez Iglesias, Perez hanging on for dear life and crosses the line, and we do get the 147, and Eduardo Romero Perez salutes the sky. He is a 146 man at his best, but so far this year 148.33. But I think we got a lesson there in just why he is a 146 man, the way he navigated his way through that race. Very efficient with his energy over the first 600 meters, and very effective once he went for broke in that last 200. Eduardo Romero Perez takes victory in 147.84. So action will soon be getting underway in that women's long jump. We saw them warming up there. But meanwhile, the pole vault is indeed underway. As we see the lineup for the C final in the men's 1500 meters. Race is very much coming thick and fast here on the track. And a reminder that we'll be on air for about another hour 45 minutes or so. Slightly behind schedule at the moment, but hopefully we'll make up that ground over the next hour and a half. First of the 1500 meters is next on track. It is the men's C final of the 1500 meters. And big field again here. Mostly men who've run in and around the 350 mark or so. Just a few of these have run faster than that this season. Looking through the personal best, the likes of Vicente Viciosa Villa, number 31, look out for him. He's the quickest this year with a 3:47. Ecaín Larea Aranguren is a 3 man. Pacemaker there doing a good job just towing this along. You can see he is the pacemaker. He doesn't have a number on that bib like the others. As they go through in about, it's a very good pace for men of this caliber. They're going to be sub 60 seconds at the 400 meters here, I think. See now as they just turn into the straight and past that 1500 meter arc, and yeah, that was about 58 seconds or so for the first 400 meters. So obviously these men pretty much going for it. 58 second pace for 1500 meters is fast, needless to say. Bring you home 3:37, and I can assure you none of these men are going to run anything close to 3:37, which is no insult to them. It's just a pace that's going to be unsustainable for men of this caliber, but it is a very healthy pace being laid down. As we see, it is number 35 there in second. That is Hugo Prieto Blanco, who has command at the moment. Back in third, back in fourth in that the other AD Marathon red and blue strip is Daniel Hernando Novo as they pass 800 meters in 1:58. This is a very strong pace being laid down here, setting up a fast time for the men who've never run under 3:45 or so before, but they're in perfect position now to do so if they can hold this pace together. And what's brilliant as well is there is a few of them there together. They can work together, they can key off each other, they can slipstream each other, and we'll expect the pacemaker to step aside pretty soon as they approach the bell. It is Hugo Prieto Blanco who has command at the moment. Is he going to tie up? Is there much left in those legs? Because he's on for something big here. 2:44 at the bell. So they're just hanging on to that sub 60 second pace, but can they hold it? Can they clock off another 59? And these three men out front will all have big personal bests, even if they can run a 61 here. They passed 1200 meters in 2:59. They're still on pace. Moving up there on the outside is Vicente Viciosa Villa. It is Villa now who goes for home, the 3:47 man, but he has company. It is Aranguren of Real Sociedad. They're 3:47 and 3:48, their personal best. They look like they're going to smash that. It is Villa out front as he passes that steeplechase water jump. 150 to go. It's the point where a lot of people use as markers to launch their kicks. And looking around there, just at that moment, was Ecaín Larea Aranguren. He has launched his kick at the perfect time. And the man who has a best of 3:48 looks like he's going to obliterate that. It's going to be below 3:45, 3:44.10. He timed that to perfection, did Ecaín Larea Aranguren. He did very little through the first 3 laps, just got on the train, saved his energy, and he had so much left when it was time to go for broke over that last 200 meters, and it is a big personal best for Ecaín Larea Aranguren. At least what I've found listed as his personal best is 3:48.47, and you can see there Vicente Viciosa Villa. He ran a brilliant 1400 meter race, but he was out on his feet for the last 100. So strong, so relaxed, admirably relaxed, you'd have to say there. Stops the watch. Important for the upload to Strava. And Ecaín Larea takes victory, 3:48.47. Brilliant win by the Real Sociedad athlete. So confirmation of that result in the women's 800 meters. Sandra Labarca Oliva taking victory in that B final. And we'll be counting down to all the A finals in the middle distance races. which will be coming up at 9:48 local time. The A final and the women's 800, followed by the men's 800 meter final, and then both the A 1500 meter finals be coming up just after 10 p.m. Central European time. But now it's back to the middle distance action, and it is 50 meters. This is the B race. Just getting my bearings there for a moment. So in this B race, it's generally athletes who are looking at times of around 4:25 to 4:30, most of them. So I would expect to see something around that. As we see the pacemaker towing things along there. The quickest in the field is Laura Domine Garcia, 4:26. Elena Victoria Fernandez Alonso is also a 4:26 athlete. So they go through 400 meters, just approaching it there in about 70 seconds. So that's probably about the 4:22, 4:24 or so pace, 4:25, something in and around that range at the moment. We'll see if they can keep that going. It is in that white vest there, back in third, Alicia Carrera Hernandez, Pamplona athlete, is just sitting in a good position. Well, back in fourth really, third in the actual field I suppose, once the pacemaker steps aside. But it was a brilliant pacemaking job we saw in that C final of the men's 1500 meters, and a good job being done too here as well by Rebecca Sante Arsenal. So they now pass 800 meters to go at 2:04 on the clock. And a couple of 68-second laps or so. 70-second laps would certainly bring some of these athletes towards personal best times as they pass 800 meters there in about 2:22. So they've slowed just a little. I would expect the pacemaker to step aside before too long. Elena Victoria Fernandez Alonso just moving up there on the outside in black, just taking a look at the leaders and perhaps considering a move towards the front, but it's still early days. 1500 meters only really starts once you enter that last 500 meters, the death zone, when it really starts to kick in. And they'll be now entering that pain tunnel with 500 meters to run. Pacemaker steps aside. It was a brilliant job, and it is Alexa Jimenez Barber who is out front. Laura Domina Garcia in second, and Garcia looks like she's now making an attack. She moved up outside there, but Jimenez just responds to it. 3:14 on the clock at the bell. They'll kick it in, so it's going to be in the low 420s, I would suspect. Maybe they'll even go under 420. We'll see just how fast they can come home, if they can produce a 65 or so. But it could be a big ask for these athletes as they hit 300 to go. And it is Alexa Jimenez Barber who still has the lead, but Laura Domine moving up there on the outside. Is she going to attack her again? She tried it at the bell and there was an immediate response from Jimenez. And it looks like Domine is just moving up on the outside and threatening to launch another attack, but she doesn't seem to have it in the legs yet anyway. Alicia Carrera Hernandez is also fully there if she has enough. 120 meters to go. Who has the legs down the home straight? It's been a very strong effort so far by Alexa Jimenez Barber, but Domine now on the outside. She's going for broke, and then it is back in third Carrera. It is so close to the line here between Domine and Jimenez. Domine, Jimenez. It is Jimenez who gets it. Well, that was a well-deserved victory after really pushing that pace along over the final 400-500 meters. Alexa Jimenez Barber has a big personal best. 4-second personal best for Jimenez. 4:24 on the clock. There it is officially, 4:24:32. That takes about 4.5 seconds off her personal best, and that's why you're seeing some tears of joy, and that's why you're seeing absolute shock on her face. And delight too back in second for Laura Domine Garcia. 4:26 was her previous best, so don't quite have the official results just yet, but she is certainly going to be no slower than 4:25 there back in second, as we see confirmation of the B final of the men's 800 meters. It was Eduardo Romero Perez taking victory there in 1:47.
Eta berriz ere begiak jarriko ditugu 1500 metroko probara, gizonezkoena, atxe beste aldean, pistaren beste aldekaldean, atxe aurkitzen
So
baitira.
there is an aerial view of the town of Ordizia in the Basque region of northern Spain, the host site for the international meeting Jose Antonio Peña. Now in its 9th edition, and something the people in the town are certainly very proud of and remembering all the time, eulogizing the name Jose Antonio Peña, a beloved coach and official at the local club in Ordizia. Up on track. Looks like it's going to be the men's 1500 meter. Nope. Losing my bearings here. Stay with me. Yeah, it is indeed the men's 1500 meters. I was just trying to see which exact final it was. So here we are, we're underway in the men's B final 1500 meters, and there's a strong pace being laid on here. They rip through the first 400 meters in under 42 seconds, which, as all 1500 meter runners know, is 3:30 pace. So that will certainly not be sustained. The men in this field have run around 3:40 to 3:45 mostly. Getting around the mark would be brilliant running here. So they'll be looking for something in and around 59, maybe high 58 seconds a lap out front. And then seeing if they can carry that home. The quickest man in the field on personal best. There are a couple in here, 3 athletes who've gone below 3:40, the likes of Jocelyn Barrelon, Esteban Gonzalez of Chile, and Sylvain Laferrere. Pacemaker though, doing a very good job. Churning that pace along. It looks like 2 athletes now breaking clear the field, and there's a fast pace. 140 there on the clock as they, almost 141 as they go through 700 meters. So it's going to be around about the 155 mark or so as they go through 800 meters. There's a strong pace that is being laid down. Can these men keep it going? It will be a surprise if they keep that up. Sylvain Laferrere of France there, number 19 in the Toulouse vest, is slots into second. There's a very strong pace being pushed on here at the moment. 2 men and then another 2, and then the rest of the field a relative world away. As we see the final pacemaker steps aside. And now all alone out front is Jocelyn Barrelon, a 3:39 man at his best. He's already run 3:41.42 this year, and the Frenchman has a great chance here of going under 3:40 as he hits the bell with 2:40 on the clock. So can he continue to produce these sub 60-second laps? If he does, he'll be rewarded with a big season's best, and perhaps even breaking his personal best of 3:39.62. Goes through 1200 meters there. Jocelyn Barralón, but he has company now, and in the form of Esteban Gonzalez of Chile. He is leaving his rival behind, but he's still probably got, what, 10 meters to make up there, with about 3:11 on the clock with 200 meters to go. So can they produce a 29 here to get under 3:40? That will be a big evening's work for this man, Jocelyn Barralón. He turns for home. He has run this field ragged, really, from the start. He went with the pace, one of the few brave enough to go with the pace, and he is pulling away with every stride. Gonzalez hanging on for second. But now, can Barralón get under 3:40? I think he can. He's done it, 3:39.51 unofficially. That is a lifetime best for the Frenchman, and he won that by an absolute street. So he takes a well-deserved rest. Jocelyn Barralón. That is textbook running there. You can just see the technique of his arms. He is fully upright. Great relaxation in the face there from Barralón. Exactly how you want to be running. Not easy to do that at the end of a 1500 meters, but that is a man who is very well conditioned. He's done a lot of workouts to get ready for a moment like that, where he has broken new ground. It may only be a personal best by a tenth of a second, but you can never say no to a personal best. He has broken new ground, has Barralón, and he has taken victory in the B final of the men's 1500 meters. Now a lot of athletes will be preparing for this, or a lot of fans will be waiting and preparing for this event, because this is the women's long jump, and there are some big names. There's two of them, Maria Vicente and Fatima Diame. Two big stars of jumping, and of course in Vicente's case, the multi-events. There's Vicente on the left, such a horrific injury she had last year at the World Indoors, ruptured her Achilles tendon. And so many Spanish athletics cried with her that day. Horrific injury for any athlete to have to deal with, but especially an athlete in an event like the multis, who has so much training to do, so much speed and power and different movements required, and the last injury you want is a ruptured Achilles when you're high jumping and long jumping and sprint hurdling. But Vicente has fought her way back. She has done all the rehab, and she is jumping very well so far this year. Her personal best in the long jump is 6:80, but has a season's best of 6:40. She did in the as part of the heptathlon in Gutsis. There is Diame in the red, and at the back she is, of course, a huge star of Spanish long jumping. Two-time World Indoor Championship bronze medalist is Diame. Finished 6th in the World Outdoor Final back in 2023. And all of 10 years ago now, the 28-year-old, she finished 3rd at the European Under-20 Championships. But there is plenty of talent in this women's long jump field, plenty of athletes who've jumped well beyond 660, 670. So that will, as you can see, a huge cheer and a warm round of applause for Maria Vicente. As you see, 665 her season's best, 680 at her best, and she's a very good triple jumper as well. So hopefully we'll be able to bring you plenty of the field action in that women's long jump, because that really is probably the event of the evening at the Internacional meeting Juan Antonio Peña. in Ordizia. There is the Ame, 28 years old, her personal best of 6:82. Well, she originally did it in Castellón back in 2021, but she equaled that this season in late May, also in Castellón. Now hopefully we can check in a little on the men's shot put. At the moment, in the men's shot put, it is Miguel Gomez Diaz leading the way with 18:03. The graphic was a little wonky there on the screen, unfortunately, but I can inform you that Diaz is out front, the Playa de Castellón athlete, 18:03, and then it is Antonio Santana Otero, 17:54 in second, and Jose Angel Pinedo Ordinas back in third with 17:03. That is the status midway through the third round. Still quite early days in the men's shot put, and this is Aratz Sendon Aruahu. Going with the spin technique, and out it goes into the not so well raked sand pit. It's kind of more like a beach, and we are off and running and indeed jumping in the women's long jump. Just checking in again in the pole vault. It looks like Ayora Picabea Santa Maria is in the lead there, but the first to enter so far. She went clear at 3:25, but she is in fact now bowed out at 3:45, so just two remaining, Virginia Scardanzan and Aslin Criala Masso, as we look back to the shot put with Jose Angel Pinedo Ordinas. Next up on track, it's going to be the 110-meter hurdles. We saw a foul there to open the competition from Lily Vine of Australia. And that was 5:63 by Lauren Callahan there of Ireland. She is an athlete who's jumped over 6:20, 6:25 it is. She has jumped at her best, as we see Leila Lacui More of the Pamplona Club. And Lacui has a best of 6:49. Let's see what sort of start she can make here. Very good height off the board. Good extension. And she bounces up out of the pit. Let's hope she gets the green light or green flag. And is on the board to start with. As we see the men's high hurdles are out on track. We will have a number of heats just about perfect on the board there. Maybe 5 or 6 centimeters behind. Very good start to the competition on that. And certainly no issues with her mark or her run-up. And we'll see what exactly Leila Lacui has opened with here. And it is 6:23 there from Lacui. She takes the lead, albeit at the very early stage of this women's long jump. So next up, it is Evelise Vega of Portugal. She has a 674 athlete at her best, but she did jump a windy 696. Marginally windy as well once upon a time. That looked very iffy on the board. Not sure if that's got the green flag. It has got the white flag, it is in fact. How big is that? Vega, the 29-year-old, she has won a slew of national titles in Portugal. And 8-time national champion. And we're underway all of a sudden in the first heat of the men's, and this is Asier Martinez there. So we didn't give this the build-up it deserved for an athlete of his caliber. That is Asier Martinez, I believe, in the first of 3 heats in the men 110-meter hurdles. The 25-year-old. So I think the local director was just unaware perhaps that was going to line as fast as it was, but that is an athlete we certainly wanted to see. Asier Martinez of Spain, the 25-year-old, the Spanish under-23 record holder, and of course famously European champion in 2022, European world bronze medalist that same summer, and 13:41 on the clock for Martinez. He makes no mistake with a 0.8 meters per second wind behind him. He is into the final. It was Angel Diaz Rodriguez back in second, 13:73, and then Abdelkader Larinaga back in third of Portugal, 14:08 for him. So back to the women's long jump. And Evelisa Vega, the last jump we saw before we cut away for the hurdles, she jumped 640. In perfectly still conditions, so perhaps that stand is just blocking the wind on that long jump runway, or that building there at the top of the runway. But so far it is Evelisa Vega 640 leading the way ahead of Leila Lakoui 623, and then Lauren Callahan back in third with 599. But no, it is India's, that jump is a 599 there from, we were looking at India's Ansi Sojan Edapili. So she moves up to third place, deposes Ireland's Lauren Callahan back down to fourth for now, but still very early days in the women's long jump. So it was a hugely impressive performance, as we'd expect from an athlete of the caliber of Asier Martinez to win the opening heat in the men's hurdles. And there will be 3 heats coming up in the men's 110 hurdles. And confirmation there, Asier Martinez Echarte, 13:41. Angel Diaz Rodriguez, 13:73 in second. I do believe those two will go into the final later on, which will be the last event of the evening on the track, coming up after the 1500 meter finals at about 10:25 local time. So coming up in heat 2 of the men's 110 meter hurdles. We'll hold off on previewing that, because one of the big stars for the home crowd is on the long jump runway, Maria Vicente. Such a star of the multis. She's done so much already in her career, and she has so much left to do. 24 years old now. She set a world under 18 best in the pentathlon many years ago. And she doesn't exactly look ecstatic with that opening effort, but it does get the white flag. It will be measured for Vicente. Let's see just what she has produced to open this competition. She goes over there for a quick consultation with her coach. Good on the board. And this time we're back over in good time for the men's 110 meter hurdles. And we're missing lane 2. So lane 3, John Paredes of Colombia. Lane 4 is Luis Francois Mendy. Lane 5, Daniel Cisneros. And lane 6, Pedro Garcia. It is very close so far, Cisneros, but now Mendy starts to assert. Luis Francois Mendy is the big favourite for this, a 13.18 man at his best, showing why he is. Didn't need to extend himself too much there. 13.52 on the clock. The Senegalese 26-year-old takes victory. A comfortable victory there for Mendy, who is the national record holder for Senegal. At 13.18 was set in Troyes in France back in 2023. And you can see there just a little bit of a mistake there from Cisneros out in lane 5, the Spaniard. And a few clipped barriers there indeed from Mendy as well, but no such issues for him. Nothing to trouble him too much. Luis Francois Mendy takes victory. Back to the long jump. And Fatima Diame, the last athlete to step up in round 1, is just about to take her first jump at this competition. I can tell you that Maria Vicente opened with a 6.18 effort to go into 4th place, but up front it is still Portugal's Evelise Vega leading the way with 6.40. That looks like a good opening effort, and it gets a very warm round of applause. Fatima Diame off to a solid start, it looks like. We'll await the measurement. Good on the board there. You can see her there just 3 strides out or so. Just take a quick glance down at the board to see exactly where it was. At the age of 28 she is now. There is her coach, and those who know their history of long jumping will know that that's a very famous figure in long jumping. 6.79, there it is from Diame. That is worth interrupting because she goes right to the head of the standings. Brilliant jump by Diame. That is very, very close to her personal best, her lifetime best of 6.82. And she's got 5 jumps left to go. And the man I was talking about before that measurement came up was, of course, the brilliant Cuban long jumper Ivan Pedroso. Won many global titles. And those who are curious about seeing one of the biggest fouls ever, if not the biggest foul ever in long jumping, I advise you to go on to YouTube and look up Ivan Pedroso 9-meter jump. It was windy, it did not count, I believe, or maybe it was a foul if I'm remembering right, but it is one of the most monstrous long jumps you will ever witness. And great to see Ivan Pedroso staying in the sport ever since his retirement, coaching so many good horizontal jumpers, the likes of course, Yulimar Rojas, the brilliant Venezuelan triple jumper, among them. Back on track, and it's time for heat 3 of the men's 110 hurdles. And it looks like one man missing perhaps in lane 5. That was supposed to be Martin Sáenz de Santa Maria. And here he is, latecomer. He is one of the quickest in the field though, 13.49 his best. He'll certainly be contending here, but the man they have to beat here is in lane 4, Yander Herrera of Cuba, 13.37 this year, the quickest man in this race. Full lineup from the inside as they are called to the marks for the 3rd and final heat of the men's 110 hurdles. In lane 2, John Seriola Segura 14.97 his best this year. Lane 3, Hugo Chaparro Cruz, 13.68 his best. Lane 3, the favourite, Yander Luis Herrera, 19 years old, a real rising star of the hurdles, 13.37 his best. Lane 5 is Martin Sáenz de Santa Maria, and lane 6, Yassir El Busatawi Belga. They go, and no surprise to see Herrera really assert his class over those opening barriers. He is pulling clear of this field. It's pretty close for second between Cruz and Santa Maria. But no doubt about the winner. It is Yander Luis Herrera pulling well clear there. Books his place in the final, 13.56 on the clock unofficially. Yander Luis Herrera, the 19-year-old Cuban. He's got a very, very bright future. Takes victory. 13.25 he ran a couple of years ago now at altitude, but has had no results. 2025, as we look back to the women's pole vault, Virginia Scardanzan of Italy. As we see, second time failure there. She's entered the competition at 4:20, so it could be a very quick women's pole vault if she doesn't go over that 4:20 height, but she has been over much higher, so that's the reason she's so frustrated. As we see, Pedroso is very much double jobbing this evening. Has a slew of world-class jumpers in his stable, and there's a lot of coaches demonstrating actions like that when they're trying to get a technical point across, but when you're as accomplished as Ivan Pedroso, I'm sure the penny drops a little harder for some of the athletes, because they know that he has done it to the very highest level. In the year 2000, of course, Ivan Pedroso, the Olympic champion, and any younger viewers would be well advised to go back and watch the highlights of that one too. One of the greatest long jump competitions you'll see. The manner in which he pulled victory from the jaws of defeat. The women's long jump. And it is Ansi Sojan Edapili stepping up for her second attempt. 5.99 she opened with. She's a 6.71 jumper at her best though. 3-time national champion in India. And it's the position the cameraman is standing makes it almost impossible to assess visually what they've jumped. But we don't need to assess that one anyway, because that's a foul in round 2 from Edapili. She will remain down in 6th place, with Fatima Diame still leading the way. So back to the women's pole vault. It is crunch time for Virginia Scardanzan. At her opening height of 4:20. Competition will be over almost as quick as it began. If she can't get over this height, let's see if she can. Speed on the runway. Scardanzan, oh, she almost had it, but just veering off to the right there a little. Her high point certainly not in line with where she planted the pole. It's all lost vertical height, and ultimately it ends in failure for Scardanzan. Crowd there for her this evening, so her competition is at an end. But back to the shot put, Jose Angel Pinedo Ordinas, who's down in 3rd at the moment. Miguel Gomez still leading the way. We're in round 5 right now. Sorry, we're in round 6. So these are the final few throws in the men's shot put. Jose Angel Pinedo fouls out in his final attempt. So then there were 2. And this man is the second last among them. That is Antonio Santana Otero, but understandably, after director has cut back to the women's long jump because one of the stars of this meeting for the host nation, Maria Vicente, is back on the runway. She is very well loved and universally liked in Spanish athletics, and indeed further afield. Maria Vicente, so many people glad to see her just back competing this year, full stop, just to see her healthy. But it's brilliant to see her also competing well, because she has been down a dark road as she recovered from that ruptured Achilles tendon last year, and she does take victory. She does foul out, I should say, the opposite of taking victory there in round 2. So back on track, and it's time for the women's 100 meter final. It's going to be a very tough race to call. There is so much talent in here. Alexandra Burkhardt will be going in lane 1, 11:26, her best this year. Lane 2 then, from Britain, that's Desiree Henry. From Cuba, lane 3, Eunice Lady Garcia. Then lane 4, the big hope for the Spaniards, Maria Isabel Perez. Lane 5, from Dominican Republic, Leirani Alonso, 11:15 already this year. And on the outside from Australia, Georgina Harris goes in 6. Very, very hard to call which way this one will go. They are called to their marks for the final of the women's 100 meters. We saw them all in action about an hour or so ago, hour and a half maybe. And here they are, ready to clash, having each come through their individual heats. So from the inside, lane 1, Alexandra Burkhardt. Lane 2, Desiree Henry. Lane 3, Eunice Lady Garcia. Lane 4, Maria Isabel Perez. Lane 5, Leirani Alonso. And lane 6, Georgina Harris. Away they go. It's a very even start. Going well there in 3 is Garcia. It looks like Garcia has the lead at the moment. Burkhardt going well on the inside. And now Henry really coming into it there in lane 2. It is Henry, but Garcia held the lead really from the start. Henry was wrong second half, but it was Eunice Lady Garcia in that pinkish purple Puma strip who came through the Cuban to take victory. We'll await the official confirmation of the time. But back to the long jump, where Fatima Diame is stepping up for her second attempt, having taken firm command in the first round competition. So white flag there for Diame. Not sure that's going to be an improvement. People, certainly the crowd, which you can usually tell, they didn't seem to respond to that quite as strongly as they did her opening effort, which was a really big one. Once again, brilliant on the board there by Diame. You could see her just glance down yet again there, 3 or 4 strides out, making sure those feet are in the right position, and they were. But Fatima Diame looks to be in command. And indeed it is 670, so great consolidation of her position there. And showing great consistency. And I'm not sure if I can lip read, but I think Ivan Pedrosa was asking for more height in the jump. There is confirmation of the result in that women's 100 meters. Eunice Lady Garcia takes victory in 11.15. 1.3 is the tailwind. Then it was Desiree Henry in second. Brilliant run too from her, 11.18. And then Maria Isabel Perez, Spaniard, back in third, 11.28. Brilliant race. And it was ladies first. Next is the turn of the male sprinters, as we get a brilliant drone shot there, just seeing the way that race plays out. Desiree Henry was really starting to charge over that final 30-40 meters. But in the end, it was Garcia who held on. So the men are almost ready to roll for the 100-meter final. 6 of them are present and correct. And that wind gauge is just spinning a little. Mostly tailwinds for the long jumpers and the 100-meter sprinters this evening. A few have registered a lot of still conditions, but certainly not many headwinds. Intriguing these 100 meters. Jose Gonzalez of Dominican Republic will go in lane 1 at 10:09. And this man though is going to be tough to beat. Ronaldo Espinosa, if he produces his best. 10:03 already this year, and 9:96 man at his best. Yannick Wolf of Germany. The heat. Can he turn that around in the final? 10:05 this year. This man came home in front in the heat. It was Elliot Jones of Great Britain. 10:20 here. Brilliant performance in the heat to win earlier. And it is another German, Kevin Kranz. 10.13 already this summer on home turf in Regensburg. Can he produce something similar to that here? And the man we missed on that lineup introduction, maybe we'll get him now. It is from Colombia, Neker Jesus Abelo Sanchez, a 10.14 man at his best. So all these athletes have run in and around the 10.0 to 10.2 mark. I would expect there to be not that much between them as they tear down this home straight at Ordizia meeting. Who will come home in front? Weather conditions still quite good. The wind a little calmer. Temperatures around the sort of 23 degree mark. Pretty good for sprinting. We'll see how quick they can go, but more importantly, who comes home in first. Away they go. It's quite an even start. Going well there in 4 is Elliot Jones, and in 2 it is Espinosa. Is Espinosa pulling clear there? But Wolf now in the last 30 meters has the strength, has the speed. The German pulled through when it mattered most. 10:16 on the clock unofficially. He puts his fingers to his lips and says, Yannick Wolf comes out on top with the victory. 10.16 unofficially on the clock. We'll see if that's corrected, up or down. It looks like that is now confirmed for Yannick Wolf. It was Espinosa who appeared to have the lead. Elliot Jones there going very well as well. Very tight for second between those two. So it is 10.16 confirmed for Yannick Wolf of Germany. Takes victory ahead of Ronaldo Espinosa, 10.23. And it was Kevin Kranz, in fact, back in third, 10.24 for him. And then back in fourth it was Neker Jesus Abelo Sanchez, 10.30, as we see confirmation of that shot put win for Miguel Gomez. And indeed, that is the under 20 shot put champion, who was just obviously throwing a slightly different weight. 6 kgs instead of, I think it's 7.26 for the senior men. And there is confirmation of that men's 100 meter result. Yannick Wolf coming through, 10.16 with pretty ideal conditions, 1.3 meters per second tailwind. Ronaldo Espinosa takes second in 10.23. Couldn't quite make it the Cuban double. And then it was Kevin Kranz of Germany back in third, 10.24 for him. Next event on track will be the women's 400 meters, and there will be another very strong Cuban in contention there, and probably heavily favoured to come home in front. The well-known figure of Roxana Gomez, who is of course a sub 52nd athlete, as we see that overhead shot of the men's 100 meters, and Yannick Wolf with that brilliant last 30 meters. He wasn't super impressive in his heat earlier, but all he had to do was book his spot in the final. He did that. And he came through, and as you see, Elliot Jones was going well earlier on, but from lane 5, Krantz finished very strongly as well to get up. Finish in the podium positions. So back to the women's long jump. Nancy Sojan Edapili, having fouled her second round jump, she sits down in 9th position, gets the white flag this time. The mark she's looking for is 5:99 to surpass. And I would suspect that she has done that. Up front, Fatima Diame still has firm grip on this competition. 6:79, that opening jump. That really is a very cool shot there. Not a shot you see too often. Well done to the organisers for getting that. It's just great to see that sort of diagonal overhead shot of these jumpers. Just lends a bit of a new perspective as we see Leticia Oro coming up for her 3rd attempt. The Brazilian needs a registered effort here. 2 fouls to open the competition. And thankfully Oro has got it. She jumped 6:89 to win World Championship bronze medal in Oregon 2 years ago. That remains her personal best. So far this year, her outdoor PB is 6:30, but she did jump 6:55 indoors. Leticia Oro Melo, one of the stars of Brazilian. Glad to say she is indeed on the board. 6:07. But I think that's not going to be enough to get another 3 jumps. That currently puts her 9th. So I think that will be the end of the competition for Leticia Oro Melo, but at least she has registered a valid jump, be it best 6:09 for Oro Melo. Next up, it is Carmen Rosales Ruiz, down in 3rd at the moment with 6:34. She is a 6:60 jumper at her best. She jumped that indoors in Madrid this year to win the Spanish indoor title. 23-year-old. So she just aborts mission on that initial run-up. She has time, but she's not wasting any of it as she jogs back to her mark. And perhaps just something amiss. Maybe she hasn't quite been given the green light to head down the runway. And very soon, Carmen Rosales Ruiz of FC Barcelona. And yes, it is the same colours as Barcelona Football Club, because it is all one big club, much like many other ones in the Iberian Peninsula. They're not just football clubs or athletics clubs, they're multi-sport clubs. And Carmen Rosales Ruiz is one of their up-and-coming jumpers, the 23-year-old. So thankfully we have a bit of a faulty start there in the women's 400 meters, because that was going to come at us a bit fast before we had a chance to introduce them. But next up on track it will be the women's 400 meters. And this is the A final of the women's 400 meters, and it is loaded with talent. On the inside from Canada, Madeleine Price, who's run 51.42 at her best. In lane 2, Annabelle Medina of Dominican Republic, 51.35. Lane 3 is Roxana Gomez of Cuba, the 26-year-old. Reached the Olympic final in Tokyo 4 years ago. Lane 4 is one of the Spanish stars, really, of relay running and 400 meter running in recent years. Blanca Hervas, the 22-year-old from Valencia, 51.32, her best just a few weeks ago, and of course helped Spain to a national record in the mixed relay. And women's 4x4 out in the World Relays in Guangzhou this year. And then in lane 5, another athlete who's been instrumental in their relays, Eva Santidrian. And then finally on the outside from Colombia, Evelyn Aguilar, who is a 49.80 athlete this year, albeit at altitude in Bogota. She's been struggling to reproduce that at sea level. Bogota is at quite a bit of altitude. I've been there myself, and it's, yeah. So here we go. Roxana Gomez, 150 meters to go. She looks to have command of this race, the Cuban. 50.38 is her best this year, but she is running with vast supremacy. This long field at the moment, but Roxana Gomez comes into the home straight. It is Aguilera on the outside who appears to have second. Hervas and Santidrian close there between them for the minor spots, but no doubt about the winner, Roxana Gomez, a class apart, 50.40 on the clock. Another brilliant win for the Cuban, just outside her season's best of 50.38. She's been on a bit of a winning streak recently, Roxana Gomez. She won in Troyes in France. She won in Malaga a couple of weeks ago. She was running 50 point there as well. And yet again, Roxana Gomez producing the goods in Ordizia. Back in second, then with Blanca Hervas coming through strongly. We'll see what her time is. Could be, looks to be in the 51s, mid 51 second range, and we do have confirmation now coming through. Roxana Gomez 50.40 takes victory. Blanca Hervas takes second with 51.65, and then Eva Santidrian back in third, 51.88, and then it was the Colombian on the outside hanging on, having fought with Roxana Gomez very bravely over that opening half. Aguilar hangs on for fourth in 52.38. Back to the women's long jump, and we're finishing out round 3. And the home star, Fatima Diame, is on the runway. As I mentioned, Diame, 6.82, her season's best. Her personal best, which dated back a few years. She's showing great consistency. 2 jumps in the 670s already in this competition. Let's see what she can produce here in round 3. Could she possibly challenge with that slight tailwind behind her on a warm evening in Ordizia? It would not be a surprise to see her go beyond her personal best of 6.82. Fatima Diame speeds down the runway. Great elevation off it, and unfortunately it is a red flag, so no joy there for her. Perhaps just pushing the limits a little bit more, making some adjustments, searching for those extra centimeters. But as we can see with that jump in the first round of 6.79, she had 1 Henry in this competition. It would be an absolute shock if any of her rivals produce a jump beyond that, but it is possible. It is certainly possible. Ivan Pedroso, I think he liked that jump as well. I think that's why he was so frustrated. I think he technically liked the jump. You can see that's probably what made it a bit annoying for him, is that it was unfortunately a foul, because I think he sensed perhaps in a big one. But alas, as we see confirmation of that win by Roxana Gomez, 50.40 ahead of the 2 Spaniards. And then this is the next race up on track. It's going to be the men's 400 meter final. And there's Blunt in this as well, just like as in the women's race. Javier Gomez will be going on the outside. Eric Sanchez, in fact, I think is going on the outside. Then there's Emmanuel Bamidele in 5. Look out for Elian Laregina with that backwards baseball cap, the Argentine. 44.67, a national record recently in Troyes. That is Solomon Strader of the US. He's based in Florida, former University of Miami student, a 23-year-old, 45.52 his best. In lane 2 there from Venezuela was Kelvis Padrino. And then on the inside from Venezuela is Javier Gomez, 45.50 his best. So the quickest man in the field and the man to beat in this race, you'd have to say, is Elian La Regina of Argentina, the 25-year-old, a 4-time national champion. His previous best until recent weeks was 44.93. He'd only been under 45 seconds once. But then in 12 just a few absolutely smashed that, 44.67. Huge breakthrough. He won silver at the South American Championships earlier this year. And the men he will know well from that event, two of the men inside, in the lanes inside him, because the champion is in lane 2 from the South American Championships of Venezuela. Kelvis Padrino took victory there. And then the bronze medalist is in lane 1 from Venezuela, Javier Gomez. So gold, silver and bronze from the South American Championships all in this race, but on current form you would have to say it is going to take a big effort to stop Elian La Regina there, the favourite. That Dave Wattle style cap, except he chooses to wear it backwards. But Emmanuel Bamidele of Nigeria as well, the University of Florida student, coached by the famous Mike Holloway there. Also coached the Grant Holloway and so many other champions. Emmanuel Bamidele goes in lane 5. Eric Sanchez on the outside of the Dominican Republic has gone out very hard though. He's taken a metre or two out of Bamidele at the moment, but now Bamidele closes down and La Regina looks to have taken a metre or two out of everyone. He has left Solomon Strader well behind him as he rounds the bend now, the Argentine. Elian La Regina, he's been in the form of his life. Also coming up well on the inside there from Venezuela is Javier Gomez. He's up into second now as he turns for home, but no doubt about the man who's out front. It is Elian La Regina who is enjoying the season of his life. Can he go under 45 here again? La Regina powers to the line, 44.98. He's done it yet again, just the 3rd time in his career that he's gone under 45 seconds, and it is another victory in what has been a brilliant European summer season for Elian La Regina. Takes victory, 44.98 unofficially, and I think from halfway through that race there was no doubt about who was going to come home in front. 44.99 it is corrected to for La Regina, but that feels a whole lot better than 45.0. Elian La Regina takes victory. It was very, very close for second there. Coming down the outside was Eric Sanchez of the Dominican Republic. I think he just about got there. He's going to be pretty close to his personal best of 45.23. It is in fact come through, yes. Eric Sanchez 45.67 takes second, and then it was Emmanuel Bamidele third in 45.78 for the 2023 NCAA champion from Nigeria. Once again we hear the Chariots of Fire. The score from Chariots of Fire, the intro and the outro music. Vangelis. By the late great Vangelis. And here we are with presentation time. That was for the men's 100 meters. And next up on track, we're going back to the middle distances because it's going to be the women's 800 meters, which is coming up in just a few minutes' time. We'll keep track on what's happening on the long jump as well for you. Confirmation of results. Argentina's Elian La Regina takes victory in 44.99. A brilliant win by him. What a season it has been. And here is the full lineup for the women's 800 meters with Daniela Garcia on the inside. She'll be one of the favourites here. Will have a lot of support from the home crowd. She's a 2-minute flat athlete, and of course European under-23 champion in 2023. Daniela Garcia will be going on the inside there in that red and purple New Balance strip. Kimberly Ficenek will be going in lane 2 from Czechia. Alongside goes Haddad Soad. They are both 2-minute flat 8 athletes at their best, and indeed 2-minute flat athletes this year. back to the long jump. And Maria Vicente trying to that 6:18 in round 1. She's down in 7th position, but she has secured herself 3 more jumps. Let's see if she can utilize them to good effect here in round 4 of the women's long jump. I think that might be a foul indeed. The red flag goes straight in the air, and frustration there for Maria Vicente. 6:18 to open the competition. She's been unable to improve upon it. In 3 subsequent jumps, she stays down in 7th place. We look back at the field for the women's 800 metres, and there's a lot of talent in here. It's Rebecca Newton of Australia there in the left, alongside her Martina Escudero of Argentina. Full lineup from the inside: Daniela Garcia, Kimberly Fichinek, Saud El Hadid, Bardine Castillo, Ellie Sanford, Salome Alfonso, Malene Ingeborg Nifors, Martina Escudero, Rebecca Newton, Marta Michians Munoz, Shani Landon on the outside. And there's the pacemaker Bianca Acosta now just coming across. She, I'm sure, will be trying to tee this up for something in and around 2 minutes, which will probably see them go through the bell in around 58 seconds. Looks like about 28 and change there at 200 metres. So a good, healthy pace being laid down here early on in this 800 metres. This is the 8th final of the women's 800 metres, and there's very little to choose between some of the fastest times in here. The likes of Castillo, Haddad, Fichinek, Garcia have all run 2 minutes flat this year. None of these athletes have gone under 2 minutes ever in their career. Could tonight be the first? Could there be a bit of magic as we see El Haddad of Morocco taking up pole position there behind the pacemaker as they hit 400 metres in, I think that was under 58 seconds. But it is Saud El Haddad of Morocco, who has run 2 minutes flat this year, who has taken on this race as they go through with 300 to go, 1:13 on the clock. This is teed up for a good attempt at 2 minutes here. Moving up there on the outside is Salome Alfonso, the 2-time European indoor medalist, who's enjoying the year of her life, and now she is racing very aggressively here, dropping down to 800 metres. She's a 2:01.42 athlete at her best. She is putting that strength to very good use here over 1500 metres 3K. And look for Daniela Garcia, who is a brilliant kicker. She is just coasting up onto the shoulder of Salome Alfonso here, and the Spaniard on home turf. She's never broken 2 minutes. Could tonight be the night? What she wants primarily is the victory. Daniela Garcia digs in here. Salome Alfonso, though, is not going away. It's Alfonso fighting back on the inside. The Portuguese is going to win it. 1:59.87. It is a breakthrough. Brilliant win by Salome Alfonso. What a performance. She won 2 medals at the European Indoors this year, over 1500 metres and 3000 metres. And Salome Alfonso has just gone under 2 minutes for the first time in her life, and I think Daniela Garcia may have also done that in second. So many of these athletes were knocking on the door of 2 minutes for many years, but Salome Alfonso had never actually broken 2:01 before this evening. Her best at 800 was 2:01.42 dating back to last year. Her best this year was 2:02, but she's better known as a 1500 metre runner. Doesn't run it all that often, but she was rewarded there for her aggression, and really Daniela Garcia in second couldn't have done any more. Now the key question for Daniela Garcia, and she'll be nervous as she waits for that official time to flash up, is were there more than 1300ths of a second between her and Salome Alfonso? Still waiting on the official result to come through in the system. I'm sure it will be coming up on the graphics very soon as we go back to the women's long jump. And we are now in round 4. So Leticia Oro Mello is next up. And we're going in reverse order now in terms of the jumping, so a little bit different. Fatima Diamade will still be the last one up as the leader into the 4th round with that 6:79 opening effort. To Preparations ongoing in field for the women's 400 meters. Won so well by Roxana Gomez, Blanca Hervas, also making the podium. So back to the women's long jump, and it is currently in second position, Evelise Vega. As I mentioned earlier, back in 2022, she jumped a whopping 6.96 jump in Lisbon, but unfortunately, heartbreakingly, it was 2.2 meters per second, so it didn't count as an official personal best. But it is proof that Vega is capable of very, very big jumps. So far this year, her best is the 6.47 she jumped indoors. She has 8 national championships in Portugal. Outdoors in the long jump. She has 1 triple jump as well in addition to that, and of course 7 national indoor titles in the long jump. Next up on track, it's going to be the men's 800 meter final. That was, by the way, that was a 6.50 jump, just to confirm, for Evelise Vega. Still no sign of the result coming through in the system for the women's 800 meters, but I'm sure we'll flash it up on screen whenever we have it. But next up, it's time for the men's 800 meters. And a quality field going to the line here again. With a lot of time here. Among them, Uganda's Tom Dradiga, 29-year-old, who has a best of 144.74. But back to the long jump for a moment, because Fatima Liame is on the runway. She has commanded the competition. She has a 39 centimeter lead out front. It doesn't look like she's going to be caught, but what she wants is a personal best. She wants to break 6.82. Is that a foul? They looked very close on the board, and the crowd don't seem to like it, and nor does she. So see the guy with the rake stepping in immediately. But the men's 800 meters are off and running from the inside. Tom Dradiga, Angel Alvarez Cuenca, Abdella Muslib, Jack Lund, Mateo Rouvier, Benjamin Gardner, Dominic Kiptu, Eric Nzinkwikunda, Ryan Ignacer Lopez, David Carranza Llanos, and Elliot Cherrier. Pacemaker Inigo Perez there, flashing across, and it is Eric Nzinkwikunda slotting into second there. And Nzinkwikunda has been in great form. He clocked 146 recently in Twa to take victory, and he is taking pole position there behind the pacemaker. And Nzinkwikunda looks to be the man with the plan and the aggression to take this race on, but he has company in the form of Tom Dradiga, who is a really, really accomplished athlete from Uganda. And they are going fast here, 50.95 at the bell, so they're going to be about 51 flat there, the men in second and third at the moment, and it is Nzinkwikunda pushing this pace along. His best is 145.16, so he's gone through in about 51 flat. He needs about a 54 coming through here. A lot easier said than done. And then back in third, it is the Kenyan Dominic Kiptu. And then the rest are trailing right now. But as they round with 200 meters to go, it is in fact Abdella Muslib there moving into contention now in second. But it is Tom Dradiga, the Ugandan, the 144 man, the quickest in the race, 6th in the world indoor final this year. He has commanded this race as he turns for home, but Abdella Muslib of Morocco is strong as well. And look at Kiptu flashing home as well now. Dominic Kiptu down the outside looks to have the legs. The Kenyan gets there, 145.19. Tom just looked like he didn't quite have anything left up that home straight. And it was Dominic Kiptu. 146.63 was his best. And he is exhausted as he gets that medal put around his neck. But Dominic Kiptu has smashed his personal best. You can see him breathing and smiling and grimacing through the pain there of an 800 meter personal best. But it's a big, big personal best for Kiptu Barngatuni, who is finishing really at a different speed to everyone else. It was Abdella Muslib of Morocco, and I think what we saw there really was that Tom Dradiga who went with the pace, but especially Eric Nzikwinkunda of Burundi, the man who was right on the pace at the bell. It proved a little bit too hot to handle for him over that last 200 metres. It all caught up to him, and he essentially, metaphorically, fell in a hole down that last home straight. But it was Kiptu who takes victory.
Bueno, pues mata una niña, todavía 17 años, un fuerte aplauso para Marta Vizcar, que está cansadísima, obviamente. Bueno, pues buscaremos una cultura, un futuro,
Zorionak partari eta guazen orain bisu jaurtiketako sari ematearekin podiumean dauzkagu hiru gizon erraldoi hauek. Vamos con la entrega de premios en podium de lanzamiento de peso. Tercera posición para José Ángel Pinedo.
So presentation time for the men's shot put. In third it was Jose Angel Pinedo Ordinas with 17.60. In second it was Antonio Santana Otero with 17.92. There's Santana Otero there. And then the champion, top step for the man in the green of Playa de Castellón, takes victory with his final round throw of 18.56. Miguel Gomez Diaz. Back to the women's long jump, and Irati Michelena Balerdi, her fifth round attempt. I can tell you the women's pole vault was won by Iora Picabea Santa Maria with a best of just 3:25. It was the only athlete in that three-woman competition to register clearance. So, Michelena, the San Sebastian athlete, from not very far away, no improvement there in round 5. She remains in third position, 6:38, her best, coming in the fourth round. Now here's the full lineup for the women's 1500 meters. This will be the third last event on the track, followed by the men's 1500 meters and then the men's hurdles. There's plenty of talent in here. Among them, Maria Martinez of Spain, who's a 4:07 athlete. She ran that in Troyes just a couple of weeks ago. Second at the Spanish Indoor Championships earlier this year and represented Spain at the European Indoors. I'll give you the full lineup. Be many familiar names, I'm sure, for followers of middle distance around Europe, but especially in Spain. Marina Martinez of Spain, Maria Pia Fernandez of Uruguay, Hona Zabaleta of Spain, Naima Ait Alebu of Spain, Diana Mezulikova of Czechia, Rosalia Taraga of Spain, Hidayera Prieto of Spain, Michaela Lerachi of Argentina, Raquel Echeverria of Spain. That is the full. No, there's more. Angela Viciosa of Spain, Avote Guerre of France, Angara Davies of Britain, Julie Lajaraga of France, Shu Mataras of Spain, and then there's Zoya Naumov of Spain. There's a full lineup for the women's 1500 meters. You see the pacemaker there leading them along, and no surprises to see Marina Martinez slotting into pole position there in second. She is the quickest athlete in the field this year, 4:07.13 her best, but Maria Pia Fernandez Morera, the Uruguayan national record holder, who set that time in Nerja in Spain last year, she's also run 4:07, and she is very much going with this pace as they pass 400 meters there in about 65 seconds, so it's a pretty good pace being laid down. 65 or so is about 4:04 pace. But it will be obviously a surprise if they run 4:04, but they will slow a little. They always just go out a little hard, getting themselves sorted out, as we see Elian La Regina, the 400 meter champion. He's got a nice check, and he's also got a free t-shirt for himself, along with his third sub 45 second clocking in that men's 400 meters. But that is exactly what you want to see if you're trying to run a fast time. The athletes arranged just like a train that is slithering around this track, all in the slipstream of each other. Back in third at the moment there, that is number 11, which is Avote Guerre of France, but just a little bit of a gap opening there between Guerre and Marina Martinez of Spain. And Guerre will have to just dig in a bit, because she will be losing the slipstream effect pretty soon as that gap opens, and she'll be doing the work on behalf of the rest of the pack as they pass 800 meters in 2:10, so 65-second laps being maintained to this point. They're on for something around 4:04 if they can maintain this, but it is going to get difficult for Martinez because the pacemaker isn't going to stay in too much longer. She might get another 150 meters out of it, but then Martinez will have a long and lonely last 450 to keep this pace ticking. But Martinez, as I mentioned, she was second at the Spanish Indoor Championships earlier this year. She competed for Spain at over 1500 meters in Apeldoorn at the European Indoors, and now with 500 meters to run, she is out there chasing a personal best. 4:07 is her personal best, but it looks ripe for improvement. 2 years ago, Martinez was a European under-20 silver medalist over 1500 meters. She was 6th at the World the World Under-20 Championships back in 2021, and she passes the bell with 2:59 on the clock, and that is exactly what she will want to see, because now she just needs 67. And even though she's hurting, even though she's out there all alone, she will know that she is definitely capable of a 67 to get under this personal best. And look at the distance she has put between herself and the rest of the field. She takes a look around there, but it will be a very sweet sight, because there is absolutely no one really chasing her down at the moment. There, up into second, is Idara Prieto Suarez, and then beside her, just behind her, that is Rosalia Taraga Sanchez from the Valencia club. They look like they're on for personal best, 4:13 their respective personal best. But out front, the big question now is not about who will win, it's just how fast Marina Martinez can go. She hits the home straight and the fatigue is clear on her face. Marina Martinez is pushing for a time here. Got the win. 7 is her lifetime best. Well, it looks like she's going to get under that. But how much under it can Martinez get? She smashes it. She takes 3 seconds off her personal best. And the victory at the International meeting Jose Antonio Peña. A brilliant, brilliant win by Marina Martinez, who was brave. She was courageous there. She went with the pace. I'm sure she probably asked for that pace to be set down to take her to 800 meters in 2:10. And when the pacer stepped aside with 500 meters to go, she had to do the work herself, and she kept it going. 4:04. She 2.5 seconds or so as a personal best. Big jump for the Spaniard. And talking of jumping forward and Spaniards, it's Maria Vicente doing that in the 5th round of the long jump, but she looks pretty disgusted with it. In fact, it is the 6th round of the long jump we're now in. So early days in the 6th round, fouls in a row, so 4 fouls out of 6 for Maria Vicente. She finishes down in 8th place, can no longer improve her position. But you know what, as an athletics fan and as an athletics person, I think anyone watching her jump tonight will just be rejoicing to see an athlete as gifted and as talented as her back and competing. Not so much that matters, but the fact that she's back and she's healthy, because she is an athlete with a huge, huge future. Good health, time to come. Thick injury last year and the long road back afterwards, and there is confirmation that we were waiting for of that result in the women's 800 meters. Salome Alfonso with a brilliant performance to go 2 minutes and take victory. Unfortunately for Danielle Garcia, doesn't quite to be on the sub 2 chasing, but she's closer than she has ever been before, and she still has a personal best. That will mean a lot to the up and coming Spaniard. Brilliant performance that it was. 2:00.05 it was for Garcia in second, And then the athlete with that placard is Maria Michens Munoz. 2:00.21 for Munoz. So just looking at the bests. Maybe indeed it is personal bests for 1, 2 and 3. And Kimberly in 4th, just outside her personal best. So great running in that women's 800 metres. And we see confirmation of the result in the men's 800 metres, where Dominic Arnagut-Gatuni 145.2 ahead of Abdullah Muzlib 145.5.67 and Tom Jadriga of Uganda in third 145.94. Back to the long jump, and Irati Michelena Balerdi in the 6th round is trying to improve her position. It's Last Chance Saloon. She's down in 4th place at the moment. San Sebastian athlete. It's only about 40 kilometers from Ordizia, San Sebastian, the Basque region. She'll be very proud. I'm sure she'll have lots of friends and family in the stand there tonight watching her compete. And what has Irati Michelena Balerdi produced in round 6? The board more than that. And it is 6:33, so 6:38 was her best in round 4. No improvement there for Irati Michelena. She will finish in 4th position. Samantha of Australia. She was 3rd. She jumped 6:42 to improve hugely in that final round. And just 2 jumpers remaining, Evelise Vega and Fatima Diame. So no rest for the wicked here. We are off and running in the men's 1500 metres, and we have had a foul, and the man who has fallen has turned around and he has asked the starter, why have you not recalled the race? And now he has quickly given up. He has given up and he has decided, no thanks, I do not fancy 1500 metres of hammering myself, only my personal best. So he has stepped off the track on an incident there for him. Goes on and they move through the first 200 metres here in the men's 1500 metres. The full lineup: Ignacio Fontes, certainly one of them, in from Spain, Javier Miron, Mohamed Aboutueri, Alexander Stitz, Gonzalo Garcia, Adam Maiho, Aniol Boras, Alejandro Quijada, Salih Texos, Abdurrahman Kenitioglu, sorry about that pronunciation, Abdurrahman Liog, that again, Jorge David Torre, Eric Guzman, Yaha Awina El Karbubi, Giovanni Filippi, and finally Alvaro de Arriba on pacemaking duties, I think, on the outside. So they move through the first 500 metres or so here, and it's exactly as you want to see it if you're looking for a fast time. And we've seen fast times in that women's 800 metres and the women's 1500 metres. And the men step up here and match them with some more personal best. The pacemaker now just pushing things along there. Out for Ignacio Fontes, the fastest man in the field, the only man in the field to have run under 3:34, and he has run well below 3:34, 3:32 personal best in Rome, the time earlier on. So he will be nice, but look out too for Javier Miron of Spain. He's a 3:34 man. Well for a quick time. And look at Fontes there moving up on the outside, the 27-year-old. You see someone stepping off the track there. It doesn't look like a pacer, so he just also doesn't fancy it. 600 meters to run here, and we have a big gap up front opening up, and the pacemaker is going to step aside. And now it's time. We'll see the moment of truth. Is he going to push it on out front? And look at Fontes there. He has circled the field there, made up positions, and he is now setting out, chasing down Javier Miron. He is an athlete, Miron, who Fontes will know very well, the 25-year-old. Miron is a very accomplished 800-meter runner. He is a 144 800-meter man. That dates back to 2021. His best this year over 1500 meters is 3:38. But Fontes, as I mentioned, who is a 3:32 man this year, Olympic finalist back in Tokyo, 300 meters to go, about 2:52 on the clock, and it is on hanger life out front with that nose strip, but Fontes has blood in his scent right now. He can sense it. He can sense the weakness in Miron out front, and he is starting to attack from that group, but the gap, is it really closing? It's probably 8-10 meters. Miron is out front. He still looks strong. Fontes is starting to close down, but he's going to need a miraculous, a Herculean last 100 here to close down Miron. Miron is in a world of pain, but I think so too is Fontes, and I don't think he's really eating into that advantage at all. And Javier Miron, 3:34 is his personal best. He's going to be very close to that. He's broken it. 3:34.22. Javier Miron takes victory. Knocks about 3/10 of a second off his Ignacio Fontes. It was in second. He's going to be around 3:35. And then we'll wait for the finishers after. But Javier Miron, he pats Ignacio Fontes on the back. And Fontes is too tired to get up for the moment. But Javier Miron, the balanced athlete, huge and a personal best, his pre-run in June last year, and that is the effect there of personal best, where the fatigue isn't really a factor when adrenaline and ecstasy just takes over. But Javier Miron, brilliant performance by him. He was brave there, you have to say, the Spaniard. He went with the pace, and when the pacemaker stepped aside and he knew Ignacio Fontes was maybe 8 to 10 meters behind him, he pressed on. He did not give Fontes much of a window of hope to close him down, and Javier Miron takes victory at 1500 meters and a personal best to go with it.
Bueno, Ordizia, aprovechamos mientras se montan las vallas, se ponen aún dentro de los 7. A ver si las chicas del micro me permiten hablar. Tenemos aquí a María Martínez. Hoy ha rebajado en más de 3 segundos su marca personal en los 10 minutos, récord de bici. Y a tan solo un segundo de estar en la unidad de Tokio. María, enhorabuena por ganar. Cuéntanos con las imágenes.
So it is all wrapped up in the women's long jump. We saw our final couple of jumps. Well, we didn't actually see them, but they played out as that men's 1500 meters was happening, and our focus was elsewhere. But I can tell you that Evelisa Veiga of Portugal fouled her final attempt. She was the only athlete with a chance to depose Fatima Diame at the head of the standings. And then with victory assured, Fatima Diame stepped up for her final jump. 6:61 it was, no improvement, but this was her best jump of the evening, and it came in the opening round, 6:79. I love that shot from behind. It's a brilliant overhead shot to just see the athletes and how much ground they cover. If anyone has a long jumper in their life and they jump around the 7 or 8 meter mark. It really is only when you step it out 7 or 8 meters and you see it in your backyard and just that you understand the astonishing athleticism that these athletes possess. And that was a great shot there to be able to see that from Fatima Diama. Spaniard takes victory with 6.79 ahead of Portugal's Evelise Vega, 6.50 in second, and there's Australia's Samantha Dale back in third with 6.42. Confirmation of that result in the women's 1500. Marina Martinez rewarded with a huge personal best, 4:04.53 ahead of Rosalia Taraga Sanchez, 4:04. So it was 4:08.53 there for Sanchez, and it was 4:09 for Suarez back in third. Women's 1500. And then, of course, in that men's 1500 meters, Javier Miron, well rewarded for his bravery there, pushing the pace on in that final third. 3:34.22, big personal best for the New Balance athlete. Ignacio Fontes, building nicely all season towards championships and potentially world championships again in Tokyo. 3:35 for Fontes, takes second, and it was from Turkey, Salih Teksoz back in third. 3:37 for him, 0.13. So with that, there is just one race remaining, and it is a race where Spain looks to hold one of the big aces in Asier Martinez. As you see, 13.14, that personal best, makes him the quickest man in the field. And Martinez really is a special athlete. Of course, as I mentioned, World Championship bronze in hours ago. He also won the European a few weeks after that in fourth that year World Championships. Back in 2020 was the European under-23 champion. Well, they say, is it a case of nature or nurture? It's probably a case of both with Martinez, because his mother, Elena, was also an athlete. And Martinez, unfortunately, the 2023 season, mostly with injury, missed all the outdoor season that year with injury, but came back 2024, finished fourth in the European final in Rome, and to finish fifth in the Olympic semi-final in Paris, not too far off the final there. And who knows, perhaps this season could be the one where Martinez gets back into a global final and perhaps even onto a global podium, because I don't think anyone would pretend that the 13:14 that Martinez ran in Munich in 2022, which was the Spanish under-23 record, I don't think anyone could be the height or the limits of his capabilities. He is certainly capable of more, and it's great to see him back healthy. He goes in lane 3 here, Martinez. 13:26, his best this season, which was run in Montreuil in France about a month ago now. This is Daniel Cisneros, 13:49, his best this season. He will be going in lane 1. Alongside him, Rodriguez, 13:56, his best. Then the favourite, Asier Martinez, the 25-year-old Spaniard. 13:26, his best this season. He will be looking to attack that on a night that is pretty good conditions for sprinting, but this man is a huge threat alongside him. Luis Francois Mendy, a 13:18 man, the national record holder for Senegal. He is a best of 13:27 this year. Look out too for Yander Luis Herrera of Cuba. He will be a big factor here as well. His best this season, 13:37, but he has run 13:25 at his best. And then on the outside, Hugo Chapado Cruz. He has a best of 13:68, which he ran just a couple of weeks ago now, into a pretty stiff headwind in Leganés. So we suspect the 3 men perhaps to watch here look to be in lanes 3, 4 and 5. Asier Martinez in that white vest, right ear shot. Is Francois Mendy and Yander Luis Herrera. Probably won't be too in this field from first to sixth, and there will certainly not be much between them, between first and third, I think. How quick can they go? And who will it be who takes victory in the final event of the evening at the international meeting? Jose Antonio Peña, legendary coach and athletics official, beloved figure in Ordizia, who this meeting is named after. I'm sure he will be looking down with huge pride at the collection of athletes who have come to this track and now in the Basque region to compete this evening in front of a packed grandstand. So this is the final event, and it's sure to be one of the best. Full lineup for the men's 110 meter hurdles final. Lane 1, Daniel Cis. Lane 2, Miguel Diaz Rodriguez. Lane 3, the favourite, Asier Martinez. Lane 4, Luis Francois Mendy. He'll be tough to beat too. And lane 5, Yander Luis Herrera of Cuba. And on the outside, in lane 6, Hugo Chapado Cruz. Away they go. It's a pretty even start, but Martinez has pulled clear. He's grabbed a meter on Mendy at the moment, and that's going to be tough to get back. It is Herrera who is best putting it up to Martinez at the moment, but the Spaniard is pulling clear back to his best. Asier Martinez beats a strong field. Crisp hurdling there. The time is not the quickest of the season, but he won't mind. It's late at night. The temperatures are dropping in Ordizia, and the hometown hero, the Spaniard, Asier Martinez, has beaten an international field here, including Luis Francois Mendy and Yander Luis Herrera, two strong international rivals. And it is the Spaniard Asier Martinez who prevails. 13:36 unofficially. We'll wait for confirmation of that, but there's that brilliant drone shot from behind. You can see Luis Francois Mendy really was never in the race after those early mistakes, but you could see hopefully that's not an injury. He looks to just be holding his quad there or something as he was slowing up, and it was left to Yander Luis Herrera to best put it up to Asier Martinez. But really the Spaniard was a class apart on the evening, and facing international rivals on Spanish turf, he was always going to be a tough man to beat, and so it proved. Confirmation there, 13:36. It looks to be official now for Asier Martinez. Takes victory. We'll await the official result.
Zorionak hiruei, zorionak felicidades a mis tesoros, Ignacio Pontes eta Javier Miros. Enhorabuena.
So, hearing from our champion, we now have the official result, and it has been corrected to 13:35 in virtually still conditions. Asia Martinez takes victory. Yander Luis Herrera of Cuba takes second in 13:57. And then it was Angel Diaz Rodriguez who takes third position in 13:61. A Spanish win to send the crowd home happy at the Internacional meeting Jose Antonio Peña in Ordizia in the north of Spain, in the Basque region. It's been a pleasure to join you for this few hours and take you through the action. Please stay tuned to European Athletics website and indeed social media channels. Lots more events will be streamed from around the World Athletics Continental Tour in the weeks ahead. But for me, Cathal Dennehy, for now, it's goodbye.